Welcome to Theories Before Sleep, a place where the noise of the world fades away, where your thoughts slow, and where the universe unfolds gently, one quiet breath at a time. Tonight, we journey to the very heart of our galaxy, a place wrapped in darkness, surrounded by swirling rivers of stars and guarded by a silent ancient presence older than almost everything we know. A presence so powerful, so mysterious, so unbelievably massive that it bends space itself around its body. Sagittarius A, the sleeping giant hidden inside the center of the Milky Way. It is not loud, it is not violent, it does not announce itself, it simply exists, quietly, patiently, holding our galaxy together with a gravity so strong that even light cannot escape it. But tonight, we get close. We drift through the golden clouds of dust. We travel past the crowded stars. We follow the strange orbits of the stars that dance around it. We listen to the ancient silence of the giant that watches over us. You do not need to worry about understanding everything. You do not need to think. You do not need to hold on to anything. Just breathe slowly, gently, deeply, and allow my voice to guide you through the softest parts of the cosmos. As you listen, your body will grow heavy, your mind will loosen, your breath will slow, and your thoughts will drift like small stars across a quiet night sky. This is your moment, your space, your time to rest, so settle in, soften your shoulders, and let the vastness of the universe carry you into calm. Welcome to the heart of the Milky Way. Welcome to the story of the sleeping giant, and welcome to Theories Before Sleep. Tonight, everything slows, everything softens, everything begins. Take a slow, gentle breath in and let it drift softly out of your body. Allow the world around you to fade little by little, as though a soft curtain is being drawn between you and everything else. You are entering a different space now, a quiet cosmic space, a space where your thoughts slow, your body softens, and your imagination opens its wings. Tonight we are traveling far beyond Earth, beyond the comfort of our sky, beyond the glow of the sun and the familiar rhythm of our solar system. We are traveling to the center of the Milky Way, to a place wrapped in dust, light, mystery, and ancient cosmic gravity, to the realm of the one we call the sleeping giant, Sagittarius A. A quiet, dark presence so massive that it holds our entire galaxy together, yet so patient, so silent, that it appears to sleep while stars whirl around it in dizzying cosmic dances. Breathe slowly and let yourself drift toward the beginning of the story. Imagine lifting off the surface of Earth light as air. Cities blur into glowing threads. Mountains fade into soft shadows. The curve of our planet reveals itself beneath you like a cradle of blue and white. You rise past the atmosphere, through the darkness where the stars peek through the velvet sky, past the moon, past Mars, past the realm of quiet giants like Jupiter and Saturn floating in their ancient orbits. Beyond Pluto, beyond the solar wind, the sun becomes a pale star behind you, and the Milky Way unfolds ahead, a luminous river of stars stretching across the infinite dark. This river is your pathway, a soft, glowing guide toward the galaxy's beating heart. Take another breath in and let it fall out gently as you drift deeper into the quiet. The closer you come to the galactic center, the more the stars begin to change. They grow brighter, more crowded, more intense. What once appeared as scattered jewels across the night sky now becomes a dense ocean of burning light. Very old stars sit beside very young ones, their light blending into a shimmering tapestry woven over billions of years. Clouds of gas and dust glow faintly red, folded into delicate ribbons by the gravitational tides of objects you cannot yet see. This region is called the central bulge, where stars live fast and die young, where ancient suns burn slowly, and where invisible forces carve the shapes of everything around them. And deep inside, near the darkness that no light escapes, lies Sagittarius A, a black hole 4 million times the mass of our Sun. A black hole that is quiet but never absent, still but never inactive. Its gravity stretches for light years, pulling stars into tight, beautiful, impossible orbits. Some stars dance around it every 12 years, some every 16. Some move so quickly that if a spaceship passed by at the same distance, the starlight would stretch into long blue streaks across the sky. Breathe, slowly, deeply. Let your awareness sink deeper into this scene. Let the crowded starlight wrap around your mind like a quiet blanket of awe. You drift closer still, and the dust thickens. Dark clouds swirling like smoke around an unseen flame. These are not ordinary clouds. They are so vast that entire worlds could be hidden inside them, so dense that visible light cannot penetrate them, so ancient that they contain the leftovers of generations of dead stars. But soon you pass through a break, a clearing in the dust, and the most unusual stars come into view. Blue giants, Wolf-Rayet stars, massive suns that should not exist near a black hole. Their presence defies logic, defies physics, defies the natural order of how galaxies evolve. Yet here they are, burning fiercely, orbiting the giant as though drawn by fate. Scientists once called them the paradox of youth, because young stars were never expected to form so close to such a destructive force. And still, they burn. They illuminate the dark region around Sagittarius A, casting shifting shadows across the swirling dust. Every orbit they complete tells a story of gravity so intense that time itself slows, a story of stars being stretched and compressed as they race around the invisible center, a story of a giant that sleeps quietly until the universe decides it should wake. But for now, it rests, and you drift closer. Let your body relax even more as you approach the region where light bends and time curves around the giant's presence. You're not afraid. You're not rushing. You're simply observing the cosmic truth of our galaxy's core. Sagittarius A does not roar, does not blaze, does not tear the sky apart in wild outbursts. It whispers through gravity. It shapes the galaxy not with violence but with patience, pulling stars into orbit, guiding them in their curves, balancing the delicate structure of the Milky Way. A black hole does not need to devour matter to be powerful. Its mass alone creates a quiet authority over everything around it. And in this quiet you feel calm. You feel small but comforted, like a single grain of sand in a great desert that always knew you were there. Take a breath in, deep, slow, and as you exhale, let your mind sink into the cosmic darkness ahead. You cross another veil of dust and suddenly you see the glow. A faint ring wrapped around an empty center, the last visible light before the edge of the black hole's event horizon. This ring is not fire, it is not solid, it is gas and dust heated just enough by the giant's gravity to glow softly. This glow is the final whisper of matter before it disappears, the final breath before silence. Imagine standing at the shore of a calm ocean during a moonless night, the water still, the air unmoving, the dark stretching endlessly. This is what the edge of a black hole feels like, silent, patient, timeless. You drift a little closer, but not too close. You remain safely outside the boundary where time breaks. Here, space is distorted just enough that stars behind the black hole appear bent, curved, warped into ghostly arcs of light. It is called gravitational lensing, the bending of light by gravity itself. Sagittarius A creates a lens through which you see the galaxy from impossible angles. Patterns stretch and curl, stars appear twice. The universe reflects itself in strange, beautiful ways. Every breath you take guides you deeper into this quiet reality. Your mind feels soft like warm mist. Thoughts have grown faint, slow, dreamlike. You are drifting not only through space but through calmness itself. The deeper you go, the more the galaxy transforms around you. Noise disappears, movement slows. Your sense of time fades into a gentle blur. You're entering a state of cosmic meditation, a place where awareness meets infinity. Ahead, a single bright star whirls around the black hole in an oval orbit. It speeds up as it approaches the giant, slingshots around it, and slows again as it moves away. Its journey is silent, precise, unchanging. This star is called S2. It is one of the most famous stars in the galaxy because it moves in a way that reveals the truth that the darkness at the centre holds 4 million suns worth of mass. Scientists watched S2 for decades, waiting for the moment it would pass closest to the sleeping giant. When it did, the star's light stretched, time slowed, and the laws of physics bent visibly, all because of the presence of Sagittarius A, a quiet presence, a patient presence, a presence that shapes stars without ever touching them. Let your breath slow again. Feel the weight of your body sink into the surface beneath you. Feel your mind slip a little further into quiet. You are drifting through a region where everything moves slowly, where dust swirls in lazy spirals, where stars dance to the rhythm of gravity, where time itself flows differently. Imagine floating above a wide, ancient sea, the waves calm, the sky silent, the world still. That is what it feels like to be near a sleeping black hole. There is no chaos here, no violence, only the quiet authority of a massive object that has shaped the galaxy simply by existing. Your journey continues inward. You drift past clusters of stars packed so closely that their light blends into a soft blue haze. You pass clouds of hydrogen and helium stretching across space like translucent curtains. You pass remnants of old supernovae, shells of gas glowing faintly like dying embers. Everything here whispers the same truth. The galaxy remembers the hand of the giant that sleeps. Over billions of years, Sagittarius A has held the Milky Way together, balancing the spin, shaping the arms, anchoring the stars in a vast gravitational embrace. Your breath deepens as you take in this vision, a galaxy held by silence, a centre made not of light, but of gravity, a presence so powerful it shapes the destiny of uncountable worlds, and yet so quiet you would never know it was there. This is the paradox of a supermassive black hole. It is the darkest object in the universe, yet it reveals the brightest truths. It is the emptiest space in all of existence, yet it contains immeasurable influence. It is invisible, yet its presence is undeniable. You continue drifting, floating through a region where stars bend and dust glows and time folds gently. With every breath, your awareness loosens. Your thoughts soften, Your body grows warm and heavy. You're in the heart of the Milky Way. You're in the presence of the sleeping giant. You're wrapped in cosmic silence. Nothing to chase, nothing to solve, nothing to fear. Just breathe and rest and drift deeper into the calm. The universe is holding you. The universe is holding you. And as you drift deeper into this cosmic darkness, the space around the sleeping giant seems to change in ways that defy ordinary perception. The calm around Sagittarius A is not empty. It is full of motion, slow, ancient, deliberate motion, as though time itself were thickened here, moving in heavier steps. Far away from Earth, your thoughts lose their edges, memories loosen their grip, emotions flatten out like distant echoes. You're no longer anchored to anything except breath and the soft glow of the stars that surround the invisible core. Ahead of you, the galactic clouds expand into enormous swirling walls of interstellar gas. They stretch across light years, shimmering in soft reds and deep golds, lit from within by clusters of newborn stars still wrapped in their cosmic cradles. These clouds orbit Sagittarius A so slowly that on human timescales they appear frozen in place, but over millions of years they drift gently, like the hands of a cosmic clock no one can ever see in full motion. With each breath you take, you move a little closer to the galactic center. The air around this vision feels thicker. Not actual air, but the weight of space itself. As though gravity has softened your surroundings into a warm, dense fog where sound cannot travel and light bends at unseen angles. The silence here is unlike any silence on Earth. Not the absence of noise, but the presence of something deeper. A silence so complete that it seems to press gently against your mind, quieting everything within it. You drift between two massive stars, giants so large that if they replaced our sun, their edges would swallow Mercury, Venus, and perhaps Earth as well. Their surfaces boil with blue-white flames. Winds roar outward at millions of kilometers per hour. Yet from where you float, their fury feels distant, gentle, almost soothing. A reminder that even violence becomes soft when viewed from far enough away. The closer you move to the sleeping giant, the faster the stars begin to orbit. They follow long, elegant ellipses shaped by the invisible gravity of Sagittarius A. Some swing in close before slingshotting outward again and again, like dancers in a slow, mesmerizing waltz. One star in particular, glowing blue-white with uncommon brightness, catches your attention. Its motion is smooth, predictable, almost hypnotic. It circles the black hole with a speed that defies imagination, thousands of kilometers per second. Its name, given by astronomers on Earth, is S2. For 16 long years it loops around the giant, coming so close that space-time bends around its path. You watch S2 move, a silent spark against the dark sea, and something unusual happens. For a moment you feel time stretch. It is only a whisper of a sensation, like a thread pulled gently between your fingers. But it is enough to remind you that the laws of reality do not behave normally here. This place, the region around Sagittarius A, is where the universe begins to fold, where physics starts to curve inward, where even light must obey the will of the sleeping giant. You float past S2 and continue inward. Every motion of your body, every breath feels slower, as if sinking into warm water. Your awareness becomes hazy, dreamlike, yet sharper in certain moments as the details of the galactic center pull your senses forward. Ahead, another cluster of stars emerges, younger, hotter, more energetic. These stars are called the S stars, a family of suns that orbit closer to the giant than any others. Their existence is one of the greatest mysteries in modern astronomy. They are far too young to have formed here. The tides of the black hole should have torn apart their forming clouds long before birth, and yet they exist, shining, orbiting, rushing through the darkness as if pulled by destiny. Some scientists believe they were born far away and slowly migrated inward over millions of years. Others think they may have formed from the collision of massive stars. Some even suggest that the giant itself may have played a role in their formation, a quiet sculptor shaping stars from the chaos around it. Whatever the truth, the S-stars add a vibrant edge to the darkness. They glow intensely. Stars on cosmic adrenaline, racing in tight loops around the invisible core. Their orbits draw patterns against the void, lines of motion etched into space, revealing the shape of the gravitational field that controls them. And all of it, every orbit, every swirl of dust, every glowing filament of gas, moves around something that cannot be seen. Sagittarius A, an object smaller than the orbit of Mercury yet heavier than millions of suns. A paradox, a contradiction, a presence defined not by visibility but by effect. Your breath moves slower now, your thoughts even slower. The deeper you drift, the more the noise of everyday life falls away. The concerns, the worries, the pressure, they dissolve into the cosmic background, as weightless and irrelevant as dust floating between the stars. You draw closer to a region where clouds of dust redden the starlight, dark, shadowy forms twisting across the bright core like delicate smoke. These clouds are enormous. Some are larger than entire star systems, and within them are the secrets of future stars, knots of gas on the verge of collapse, the first heartbeat of suns not yet born. One cloud in particular, known simply as G2, was once seen rushing directly toward the giant. Scientists held their breath, expecting it to be torn apart and consumed in a storm of cosmic fire. Instead, it passed silently, stretching like soft clay, but surviving intact, as if the cloud were protected by something inside it, perhaps an unseen star. The universe rarely offers clear answers, but it leaves breadcrumbs, mysteries that pull us deeper into curiosity. You drift beyond G2 and find yourself in a widening corridor of starlight. Ahead, a large arc of light wraps around the darkness like the faint outline of a halo. This is not a ring in the physical sense. It is an illusion created by the bending of light around the gravity of Sagittarius A. Photons, particles of light, stretch and curve, following warped paths as they graze the boundary of the giant's influence. What you see is a gravitational mirage, a lens made not of glass but of gravity. This effect is one of the clearest signs that the dark center is not empty, but an immense well in the fabric of space-time. You slow your breathing again and notice something subtle. The closer you drift to the gravitational center, the more your inner world mirrors the outer one. Thoughts bend, time stretches, emotions soften. Your awareness folds gently inward like a sleeping flower. This parallel is not metaphorical, it is deeply felt. The gravity of this place exists both outside you and within you. For a moment you forget the boundary between your body and the cosmos around you, between your thoughts and the movement of stars, between your breath and the quiet pulse of the galaxy. It all blends into a single experience, a soft, expansive stillness that feels like floating inside a warm, endless sea. You approach the region where matter spirals inward but has not yet crossed the point of no return. Astronomers call it the accretion flow, a slow whirlpool of gas moving gently toward the giant. In some galaxies, this region glows brightly, emitting powerful radiation as the black hole feeds. But in the Milky Way, the giant sleeps. It consumes almost nothing. The accretion flow is dim, quiet, barely stirring. A hungry creature in a long slumber, waiting for the next cosmic offering. This quietness is what makes Sagittarius A so fascinating, so mysterious, so difficult to observe, but also so perfect for meditation. Because as the giant rests, so do you. The entire galactic centre feels like a vast cosmic bedroom. The lights turned low, the noise muted, the tension dissolved. You drift near the warm halo that surrounds the darkness, watching as tiny particles spiral inward and disappear. It is silent, absolute, complete. A silence that does not frighten you, but comforts you. Because you realise that even the darkest place in our galaxy has a purpose, a role, a place in the greater story. Sagittarius A is not destruction, it is structure, order, balance. The unseen heart that holds the Milky Way in its graceful spin, your breath, becomes soft, barely noticeable, like the faint motion of distant starlight. And in this quiet you finally understand, not through words or logic, but through feeling, that the universe is not chaos. It is harmony, it is patience, it is cycles of rest and awakening, of gravity and release, of silence and creation. And tonight you are witnessing the deepest silence of all. The silence of a giant that has slept for millions of years beneath layers of swirling stars. A giant that shapes the galaxy not by roaring but by being. A presence felt everywhere even when unseen. You settle deeper into this understanding, into this softness, into the calm weight of the universe's centre. Your thoughts fade one by one. Your body grows heavier. Your breath slows into a peaceful rhythm, and the sleeping giant waits quietly at the centre of everything. The sleeping giant waits quietly at the centre of everything, and as you drift through this final stretch of the galactic core, you begin to sense how deeply its influence runs, not in violence, not in sound, but in an invisible, ancient order that shapes every orbit, every star, every drifting cloud within tens of thousands of light years. You float near the edge of a region astronomers call the circumnuclear zone, a ring of dust and gas several light years thick, rotating slowly around the giant. This ring is warm and turbulent, filled with clumps dense enough to form stars under the right conditions. For millions of years, it has circled the black hole like the ring of Saturn, but on a scale so enormous that even the imagination strains to fully grasp it. These clumps of gas are the raw material for the next generation of S-stars, the next brilliant suns that will dance around the giant's heart. And as you observe them, you feel a gentle realization. The galactic centre is not a place of destruction. It is a nursery, a cradle for stars destined to illuminate the Milky Way long after our sun has faded into memory. The giant does not merely hold, it shapes, it organises, it feeds, not by devouring, but by creating the conditions for renewal. You drift lower into the golden haze of the circumnuclear clouds. The light here is soft, a warm amber glow filtered through thick layers of dust. These clouds move slowly like heavy curtains being pulled open by invisible hands. Their motion is dictated not by wind but by gravity, the slow, patient gravity of Sagittarius A. At this proximity, you begin to feel something else. A subtle hum, not audible but sensed, as if the very fabric of space is vibrating with an ancient rhythm. A pulse older than stars, a heartbeat of the galaxy itself. This hum is not the black hole feeding, for it sleeps, but the resonance of its gravitational field, the whisper of the curvature it imprints on the universe. It is soothing, steady, reliable. You breathe in, and the hum matches your inhale. You breathe out, and it fades with your exhale. A perfect synchronization between your body and the cosmic environment. Ahead of you, the stars thin, the dust recedes, and the darkness deepens. You're entering the immediate neighborhood of Sagittarius A, a region only a few light hours across, yet containing the mass that anchors our entire galaxy. The giant itself remains invisible, hidden behind its event horizon, a boundary that marks where space collapses inward and time slows to a halt. No light escapes from within, no sound escapes, no information escapes. It is the ultimate one-way passage. But you do not cross this boundary. You remain safely outside, floating in the region where space is curved but not broken. From here, the gravitational lensing becomes even stronger. Stars behind the giant do not look normal. They stretch into arcs, thin streaks of light that bend into circles around the darkness. These arcs form what astronomers call the photon ring, a shimmering halo created by light that has nearly been captured but managed to escape at the last moment. It is not a physical structure. It is a dance of probability, a lens of pure gravity revealing the shape of the unseen. You drift along its edge, watching the arcs shift as you move. The universe around the giant seems liquid, as if space itself has become fluid, flowing around the black hole in slow currents. Your awareness loosens further, your breathing deepens, your muscles soften. This environment, quiet, smooth, gently distorted, pulls you into a deeper calm than any place on Earth could. Nothing here rushes, nothing here pushes, nothing here judges. Everything simply moves with the rhythm of gravity. A rhythm so ancient that even the oldest stars have forgotten when it began. You continue drifting until the photon ring circles fully around you, a glowing arc that never breaks, and beyond it, nothing. Not empty nothingness, but a darkness so complete that it erases the distinction between inside and outside, between here and there. This darkness is not threatening. It is peaceful, soft, like a warm blanket wrapped around the edges of your consciousness. Here, near the sleeping giant, you feel a deep truth. Even the most powerful forces in the universe can be gentle. Even the most massive objects can be quiet. Even the deepest darkness can hold calm. Your thoughts fade again like faint ripples on a still lake. Worries do not survive this close to a black hole. They are too small, too temporary, too fragile in the presence of something so vast. The giant does not take them, but the universe gently dissolves them, showing you how insignificant they truly are on the scale of cosmic history. You breathe in, slow and deep. Your chest rises gently. Your mind hovers between thought and emptiness. You breathe out, and your awareness settles lower, like dust drifting through starlight. You look up into the dense star clusters surrounding the giant, and you notice something remarkable. Every star's orbit is a story. A long, winding story written over decades, centuries, millennia. Some orbits are slow and wide, taking hundreds of years to complete. Others, like those of the innermost S stars, are swift, sharp, whirling around the black hole in tight loops that could be drawn on paper like intricate calligraphy. Astronomers track these orbits with extreme precision. They measure how the stars speed up as they swing near the giant, how their light stretches into red tones, how time shifts subtly as they dive through regions of stronger gravity. Every measurement confirms the same truth. Something massive, staggeringly massive, lies in the darkness, and that something is Sagittarius A, a supermassive black hole that has shaped the Milky Way since its earliest days. You drift between two S-stars that glide past each other in opposite directions, one rushing inward toward its closest approach, the other slowing as it travels outward. Their paths look like threads of light woven into a tapestry, and for a moment you see the entire galactic center as a single enormous dance. Every star, every cloud, every ripple of dust moves to the same silent rhythm, the rhythm dictated by the giant at the core. This is the choreography of gravity, a choreography so perfect that even chaos becomes beautiful. You drift closer still until the stars thin and the dust fades again. The environment becomes darker, not black, but a deep violet twilight filled with faint particles spiraling inward. You're now at the very threshold of the accretion zone. The gas here moves slowly, softly, a calm whirlpool barely visible against the deep backdrop. When the giant wakes, this region brightens with fierce energy. Jets of light erupt from the poles. Matter spirals inward in blinding heat. But tonight, you see none of that. Tonight, Sagittarius A is dreaming, quiet, still, soft. The calmness here is almost sacred. You breathe in again and feel your awareness sink deeper than it has all night. Your thoughts are no longer linear. They move in slow circles, curving like the paths of the stars around you. You realize, not as an idea, but as a sensation, that you are part of this dance, that your existence, your consciousness, your breath is as much a part of the universe's story as any star born in the galactic core. And in this realization, something inside you relaxes, a tension you did not know you were holding, a tightness that quietly unwinds as you drift through this silent region of impossible gravity. You float along the edge of the final boundary, not the event horizon, but the last shell of space where time flows normally even as gravity grows intense. Here, you look back at the path you travelled. Thousands of stars, golden clouds, glowing arcs of light, dense corridors of dust, and you see how everything converges toward the giant, how all motion, all light, all time is shaped by its presence. It is undeniable, it is magnificent, it is peaceful, and you feel a profound truth. Even when you cannot see the center, it still guides you. Even when the heart is hidden, it still shapes everything around it. Even in darkness, there is purpose. The sleeping giant remains behind you, quiet, steady, eternal, as you begin to drift outward again, carried by the gentle tides of the galactic core. Your breath merges with the soft hum of gravity. Your mind melts into the starlight. Your awareness floats like dust in warm air. You are held by the universe. You are calm. You are safe. You are part of the story written in the heart of the Milky Way. Breathe softly and imagine yourself drifting outward from the immediate boundary of Sagittarius A's silent influence, carried gently by the slow cosmic currents that ripple through the galactic center. Part 1 brought you to the quiet threshold of the sleeping giant, the deepest heart of our galaxy. But the giant, though central, is only one piece of a far greater tapestry, Around it lies a sprawling labyrinth of dust, starlight, and ancient memory, a region so dense, so complex, that astronomers have compared it to a maze of shadows woven into the fabric of the Milky Way. This is the realm we enter now, a realm where stars crowd together like glowing embers in a cosmic furnace, a realm where thick clouds twist into impossible shapes, a realm where light must fight its way through curtains of darkness to reach anywhere at all. As you drift outward, your perspective widens. You begin to see how enormous this region truly is. Not just a cluster of stars, but an entire ecosystem of cosmic structures, all orbiting, all interacting, all quietly shaped by the sleeping giant at the core. Take a gentle breath in and feel the scale of this place expand in your mind. The airless silence around the black hole gives way to a thicker, warmer glow, a region filled with interstellar dust that has drifted here over billions of years, carried inward by the galaxy's slow rotation. These clouds form great arches and filaments, some stretching dozens of light years, like long ribbons flowing through the dark. They are not smooth, they twist, fold and knot into strange geometries, sculpted by magnetic fields and turbulent winds that pulse through the core. This is the central molecular zone, one of the most extreme environments in the Milky Way. Here, temperature, pressure and density reach levels unimaginable in the quiet outskirts where our solar system resides. Stars are born here with unusual ferocity. They ignite in clusters so massive that they shine brightly enough to cut through the thickest dust. They grow quickly, live violently, and die young, often in spectacular supernova explosions that send shockwaves rippling through the region. These shockwaves carve deep cavities in the dust, great hollows that look like cosmic caverns, their walls glowing faintly with leftover heat. You drift toward one such cavity now, a vast bubble created long ago by the explosion of a massive star. Its edges still shimmer with the faint chemical signature of heavy elements forged inside the star's core. As you pass through the opening, you feel the silence deepen again. This bubble may be empty of stars and dust, but it is full of memory, a record of a star's life, its final breath, and the energy it released into the surrounding maze. Floating through this cavernous space, you sense how incredibly dynamic the galactic center is. Everything here is in motion, nothing is still, nothing remains unchanged. Dust clouds collide, star clusters drift, streams of gas race inward along magnetic channels, new stars ignite in bursts of light, old stars collapse into neutron remnants and black holes that quietly slip into the darkness. This constant activity creates a feeling not of chaos but of steady transformation, a deep cosmic rhythm of birth and decay that has continued for billions of years. You drift out of the bubble and back into the thicker dust. The view darkens, not because there is less light, but because the clouds here are so dense that even bright stars become blurred shapes behind curtains of shadow. Yet the darkness feels warm, alive, filled with potential. In these clouds lie some of the most massive star-forming regions in the entire galaxy, vast nurseries where gravity slowly gathers gas and dust into tight knots that collapse into new suns. Some of the stars born here are giants, 50, 100, even 200 times the mass of the Sun. Stars so powerful that their winds can sculpt entire clouds, blowing open cavities and setting off chains of new star formation. Others are small, dim red dwarfs that will shine quietly for trillions of years, far longer than the Milky Way's future. Still others form in pairs, binary systems that orbit together in gravitational harmony, and among them are stars that will eventually drift toward the galactic center, becoming part of the dancing clusters you observed earlier. The thought of this brings a sense of continuity, a reminder that the universe is not static, but alive with cycles we can only glimpse from our small place in space. Take another slow breath and let yourself sink deeper into this realization. The maze around the galactic center is not designed to confuse, it is designed to evolve. Every collision of dust clouds, every shock wave from a supernova, every gravitational tug from Sagittarius A is part of the cosmic mechanism that keeps the Milky Way alive. You drift into a region where long, slender filaments stretch across the darkness like glowing threads. These filaments are streams of energized particles accelerated by magnetic fields that twist around the core. They appear almost like lightning, frozen in time, etched across light years, yet constantly shifting in subtle, unseen ways. Some filaments are straight, others curved into graceful arcs. Some connect star clusters to distant clouds, almost like bridges of invisible force. They add structure to the chaos, like bones holding the body of the galaxy together. As you pass between two filaments, you feel a tingling sensation, not physical, but a quiet awareness that you are drifting through regions shaped by forces we barely understand. Magnetic fields here are far stronger than anywhere near Earth. They guide the motion of dust, shape the flow of gas, and influence where stars can form. These unseen lines of force turn the galactic center into a cosmic loom, where light and shadow are woven together into intricate patterns. Beyond the filaments, you reach a corridor where the dust thins into fine mist. Light begins to return, soft, golden, filtered through layers of swirling particles. Ahead lies the Arches cluster, one of the most massive and densely populated star clusters in the galaxy. As you approach, the darkness dissolves into a glittering ocean of bright blue stars. They sparkle like diamonds scattered across velvet. This cluster contains some of the most luminous stars ever discovered, giants so hot that their surfaces boil in fierce winds driven by extreme radiation. These stars push against the dust around them, carving out beautiful shapes, rounded hollows, striated arcs, rippling walls of gas. The soundless violence of their energy creates breathtaking vistas that stretch across dozens of light years. You float through this region, and a sense of awe blooms quietly inside you. These stars will live short lives, only a few million years, before collapsing in brilliant explosions. But in that time, they will shape the environment through which you now drift, sending shock waves that trigger new births, continuing the cycle. The maze of dust and filaments is not random, it is a cradle for creation. You drift past the Arches cluster and enter a darker pocket, a hollow carved by overlapping winds. Inside this pocket, time seems to slow even further. The starlight outside filters faintly in, casting soft patterns across the calm interior. Here, the dust is thick enough to block the brightest stars, creating a peaceful twilight filled with quiet motion. Tiny grains of dust, slightly charged, influenced by the magnetic fields, swirl gently like drifting snowflakes. Their movement is slow, almost meditative. You watch them drift in soft spirals and feel your breath sync with their pace. Deeper still, the quiet pocket opens into a long, narrow structure called the central ridge. a dense concentration of gas that stretches for dozens of light years. This ridge contains more raw material for star formation than almost anywhere else in the galaxy. Massive clouds along its length are constantly collapsing, feeding the birth of enormous new stars. Some of these developing stars already glow faintly behind their dust cocoons, like lanterns veiled in thick fabric. Others are silent, still gathering mass, waiting for the moment they ignite. From here, the gravitational pull of Sagittarius A is still felt, not strongly, but steadily. It is like a distant drum beat, a slow rhythm that everything moves to in its own time. You drift along the length of the central ridge, watching young stars shimmer inside their embryonic clouds. You breathe softly, slowly, letting the warm darkness wrap around your awareness. This place, dense, mysterious, filled with glowing arcs and hidden light, feels like the secret chamber of the galaxy, a place where creation is quiet, where motion is gentle, where the universe works in patience. And as you drift deeper, you feel something subtle shift inside your mind. You begin to understand that the maze is not meant to confound you. It is meant to show you that complexity can be beautiful, that shadows can be rich with meaning, that confusion can lead to understanding, that every star, every filament, every swirling cloud has its place, just as you do. You're drifting through the heart of a living galaxy, a region pulsing with silent energy, with creation, with the slow breath of cosmic time. And the sleeping giant remains behind you, steady and distant, holding everything in place from the center. As you drift further along the central ridge, the density of the dust begins to shift once more. Soft pockets open up between the clouds, windows where starlight slips through in faint golden threads. These threads illuminate narrow channels of gas that twist like rivers between the darker clouds. Each river flows slowly, carved by invisible forces over countless millennia. Some are guided by gravity, others by magnetic fields, and others still by shock waves from distant stellar explosions. But from where you drift, all these channels seem to move in harmony, as though the galaxy is breathing through them. You follow one such river now. Its path winds gently through space, crossing regions of faint light and deeper shadow. The further you go, the more you sense that the core is not chaotic at all. It is organized, but in a way that is too vast for the human mind to understand all at once. You relax into this thought. Not everything needs to be understood to be appreciated. Not every structure needs to be explained to be beautiful. Sometimes you simply witness and let the universe speak in its own quiet language. The river of light leads you to a turbulent region where clouds curl into spirals and long, dark lanes cut sharply across glowing gas. This is the footprint of a supernova that exploded long ago. A massive star that lived fast burned fiercely and died in a brilliant collapse. The shockwave from its explosion sent dust and gas flying outward, carving the dramatic shapes you now drift through. Even after tens of thousands of years, the echo of that explosion remains etched into the surrounding clouds. As you pass through the region, you imagine the star's final moment, a flash brighter than all the stars of the galaxy's core combined, followed by silence as the remnants cooled into expanding shells of gas and dust. The remnants still glow faintly with ionized light, like embers that refuse to fully fade. You drift through one of these shells. Inside, the space is calm, peaceful. the kind of peace that comes after immense release. The energy that once burned here has spread outward, feeding the next generation of stars. You breathe deeply and allow this thought to settle in your mind, that endings are not the opposite of beginnings. They are partners, collaborators, creators. Every end becomes a new structure in the cosmic maze. Every collapse becomes a new potential for future light. You glide out of the shell and find yourself in a region where the dust clears. The stars appear again, not scattered, but tightly grouped in a formation that glows intensely. This is the quintuplet cluster, one of the brightest clusters in the entire galaxy. It earned its name from 5 massive stars that shine with exceptional power, their light warming the surrounding dust into deep reds and golds. But the cluster holds many more than 5 stars, hundreds of them, burning fast, burning hot, destined to die young in supernova blasts. Their collective light is so intense that it pierces the thick dust that blocks much of the galaxy from view. You move among them, feeling the warmth of their radiance against your mind. There is something youthful about this region, a sense of urgency, motion, wild energy. These stars are like cosmic fireflies in a vast forest of darkness. Bright, fierce, alive in a place where most stars would struggle to form at all. Their light reveals the edges of nearby clouds, casting long shadows that ripple gently as you drift by. These shadows are not empty. They are full of cool dust slowly gathering into future stars. You realize that even the darkest pockets in the maze are full of life waiting to happen. Nothing in the galactic center is truly still. Everything is in some state of becoming. You leave the quintuplet cluster and move toward a quieter region, a narrow lane where dust forms a long, smooth arc. This arc is dim, barely lit by the distant clusters, but as your eyes adjust, you see subtle textures, waves, ripples, and faint spirals etched across the dust. These patterns were shaped by the combined gravity of the stars and clouds nearby, a delicate balance of push and pull that has taken millions of years to sculpt. It reminds you that gravity is not an aggressive force. It is gentle, persistent, patient. It guides dust into shape. It nudges stars into orbit. It folds the galaxy into a spiral. Without gravity, the Milky Way would dissolve into drifting particles spread thin across space. With it, the galaxy becomes a masterpiece. You drift further down the arc and the dust opens up into a swirling chamber, a large round region where multiple filaments converge like the spokes of a wheel. This region is known as a hub, and it is a place of intense star formation. Gas from different directions flows inward, collecting at the center, building pressure until the core collapses and ignites as a newborn star. Some hubs form one star, others many. Here, the glow of newly formed stars spreads outward in soft waves, lighting the dust from within. You float above this glow and feel a strong sense of renewal. It is as though the galaxy is constantly regenerating itself, tirelessly weaving new light into the fabric of its ancient core. Your breath deepens as you take in the scene. You begin to see that the maze is not a place of confusion. It is a place of partnership. Gravity, dust, stars, heat, pressure. They work together to build the structures you drift through now. None of them operate alone. None dominate the others. All play a role in shaping this galaxy. And you, drifting in the middle of it all, feel connected to this cosmic cooperation. You move forward into another filament. long, thin, glowing faintly with energy carried through magnetic lines. This filament stretches for dozens of light years like a luminous path through the maze. Following it, you discover that the filament is not uniform. It pulses, not like a heartbeat, but like a slow wave of shifting brightness. These pulses are caused by high-energy particles travelling along magnetic highways that thread the entire core. You drift alongside the filament, watching the light ripple through its length. The motion is soothing, steady, predictable, slow, as though the galaxy itself were breathing. You allow your own breath to match the filament's rhythm. Long inhale, long exhale. Soft, smooth, continuous. You drift beyond the filament and enter the largest structure in the galactic maze, the central molecular zone's extended ring. This ring spans hundreds of light years, wrapping around the core like a cosmic halo. It is made of thick dust and dense gas, swirling slowly in a dance that reflects the deeper motions of the entire Milky Way. Inside this ring, giant molecular clouds rise like mountains, massive, towering structures that hold enough material to form thousands of stars. High above these clouds, threads of ionized gas glow faintly, twisting into curved shapes that resemble floating bridges. These bridges connect one cloud to another, creating channels through which matter, energy and magnetic fields flow in steady loops. Everything here feels interconnected, a vast network of cosmic elements working together like organs in a living being, and you realize the galactic center is alive in its own way, not alive with biology, but alive with motion, energy, growth and transformation. It breathes, it pulses, it changes. Not in days or years, but in millions and billions of years. Yet somehow, despite its ancient rhythm, you feel perfectly synchronized with it. Your breath moves with the dust. Your awareness flows with the filaments. Your inner calm matches the quiet gravity of the region. You drift near the outer edge of the molecular ring and look inward again toward the sleeping giant. Though far away now, Sagittarius A still exerts its quiet pull. You cannot see it, but its influence lingers, soft, pervasive, like a low note in a song that never stops playing. Every star here moves to that note. Every cloud responds to it. Every filament aligns in subtle ways with the gravitational rhythm. You take another deep breath and feel your body grow heavier, your thoughts slower, your awareness softer. The maze is no longer confusing. It is no longer overwhelming. It has become a sanctuary, a place where complexity is softened into calm understanding. You drift gently between two enormous clouds whose outer layers glow faintly with scattered starlight. These clouds, dense, massive, full of the raw material for thousands of suns, stand like ancient guardians of the core. As you pass between them, the darkness deepens once more. Not an empty darkness, but a rich, velvety shadow filled with the promise of future stars. You glide effortlessly through this quiet path, feeling the depth of the galaxy's inner peace. And then, somewhere far behind you, you sense the slow, steady gravity of the sleeping giant whispering again, a reminder that the entire maze exists because of the center, that the dark labyrinth is the giant's creation, its influence, its domain, and you drift on, safe and calm through the warm shadows of the Milky Way's heart. You drift deeper into the quiet path between the massive clouds, feeling the darkness embrace you like a gentle velvet curtain. The maze is quieter here, not because there is less activity, but because the movement is softer, more subtle, hidden beneath layers of drifting dust. This region feels ancient, as though it has held the same shape for millions of years. The dust moves slowly, suspended in a delicate balance between gravity, pressure, and magnetic forces. You glide forward and the darkness begins to break, not with sudden brightness, but with small, shimmering points of faint starlight. Tiny newborn stars peek through the dust, their light still weak, their surfaces still forming. They glow like embers in a deep forest, promising the beginnings of new constellations that will one day shine across the galaxy. The closer you draw, the clearer their soft light becomes. It spills across the dust in quiet waves, revealing gentle contours and folds of gas that swirl like silk around the starry sparks. This nursery is one of countless birthplaces scattered throughout the maze, a place where time moves slowly and stars rise from darkness with patient certainty. Even here, the sleeping giant's influence can be felt, a faint gravitational whisper that guides the dust inward and helps shape the motion of the forming stars. You drift above this nursery, allowing the soft glow to warm your senses. A calm understanding settles over you. That creation is not sudden or violent in its early stages. It is peaceful, quiet, steady, a long accumulation of gentle motions and invisible forces. You move forward again and find the maze becoming brighter. Ahead lies the Sagittarius B2 cloud, one of the largest and most chemically complex molecular clouds in the entire galaxy. This cloud is massive, spanning more than 150 light years. Its interior is rich with organic molecules, including some that form the building blocks of life: ammonia, methanol, formic acid, and even chemical chains that resemble the simplest sugars. As you drift through its outer layers, faint spectral colours spread across your view: soft blues, deep reds, and shimmering violets, all caused by molecules interacting with starlight. It feels like entering a cosmic ocean of chemistry, where even the silence holds the promise of future worlds. The density here is extraordinary. Grains of dust are so tightly packed that they form opaque curtains, blocking any view of the deeper interior, and yet from the edges you can sense motion. Slow waves moving through the cloud as gravity pulls some regions inward, while magnetic forces push others outward. You glide along one of these waves, feeling your awareness sync with its calm rhythm. This cloud is a place of potential, a cradle for stars, planets, and the molecules that may someday lead to life elsewhere in the galaxy. You drift near a dense knot where starlight barely enters. The darkness here feels cool, sheltering, like the inside of a cocoon. Massive stars will form here. Their ignition will send shock waves through the cloud, carving new shapes and setting the cycle in motion again. You move away from the densest part of the cloud and enter a clearer region. Here the dust becomes finer, allowing more starlight to slip through. The maze brightens with warm golden hues. A large arch of dust rises ahead, shaped like a bridge connecting two massive pillars. This arch was sculpted over millions of years by the combined winds of several giant stars hidden deeper within the maze. As you drift beneath it, the scale of the structure becomes overwhelming. It towers above you for dozens of light years, its shadows stretching into the distance. The pillars on either side are equally massive, dense columns of star-forming material that resemble cosmic cliffs. These are the backbones of the molecular maze, guiding the flow of gas through the galactic core. You float between the pillars and the temperature shifts slightly. Not in a physical sense, but in the tone of the light. It becomes cooler, slightly more blue as you enter the influence of another young cluster. Ahead, the cluster emerges from behind a curtain of dust. Dozens of stars burn brightly, their collective light pushing back the darkness. This cluster is chaotic. Young stars of different sizes and different ages all gathered in one place. Their light flickers across the dust in complex patterns, like candlelight reflected in moving water. A soft wind of gas flows outward from the cluster, carrying the remnants of the material that formed these stars. You drift through this wind, and it feels almost like passing through a memory, a faint reminder of the violent birth these stars experience before settling into their current harmony. Beyond the cluster, you come across a long curved filament that arcs across the maze in a gentle U-shape. This filament is thinner than the others you have seen. Its light is faint, pale blue with silver undertones, and it moves, slowly, softly, like a wave frozen in space. Scientists believe these filaments are shaped by powerful magnetic fields threaded through the galactic core. They guide the motion of dust and gas over enormous distances, connecting clusters, clouds, and star-forming hubs in one continuous framework. You follow the curve of this filament as it sweeps gracefully toward a brighter region. Here, the maze opens up again, a wide, glowing chamber lit by the combined radiance of several nearby clusters. The chamber feels airy, expansive, like a cathedral of starlight. The dust along its walls is illuminated in shimmering gradients. Copper, gold, and soft rose tones blend into one another as starlight refracts through thin layers of gas. You hover in the centre of this chamber, taking in the vast openness. From here, you can see how the maze stretches in every direction. A complex network of winding lanes, radiant clusters, dense columns, and glowing filaments. And in the far distance, barely visible beyond the thickest dust, you sense the faint presence of the dark centre, Sagittarius A, still holding everything in its gentle gravitational embrace. You breathe slowly, deeply, allowing your awareness to widen with the chamber. The scale of the maze is impossible to hold in a single thought, but you do not need to understand it fully. You only need to drift within it, feel its patterns, its flow, its balance. You continue drifting through the chamber and soon find yourself entering a narrower, darker lane. This lane curves in a long spiral around the central region, a hidden corridor that winds its way between two massive cloud complexes. The only illumination here comes from faint reflections of distant star clusters scattered across the dust-laden walls. The darkness feels serene, comforting, a gentle reminder that shadows are not empty but full of quiet structure. As you move deeper, soft ripples pass across the dust, almost like waves brushing ashore. These ripples are caused by gravitational tides from clusters passing nearby. Even gravity here moves like a breath. You follow the lane as it spirals inward, guiding you back toward the heart of the maze. Stars become more numerous again. Dust becomes thicker, forming intricate patterns like calligraphy drawn across the dark. The deeper you go, the more you begin to understand the maze's purpose. It is the Milky Way's engine room, a region where forces collide, interact, and transform, where new stars are born from ancient dust, where energy flows through invisible pathways, where gravity sculpts the future of the galaxy, and all of it moves according to a rhythm, a rhythm set by the silent giant in the centre. The maze is not random, it is orchestrated, it is not chaotic, it is coordinated, it is not confusing, it is alive. You drift into another bright clearing, a pocket of space where dust has been blown away by the combined winds of several young stars. The clearing is filled with soft, diffused light that shimmers across the remaining dust in delicate ripples. It feels peaceful, almost warm. You hover here, feeling the calm settle deeper into your body. Your breath becomes slow and steady. Your thoughts dissolve into soft impressions. The universe narrows to a quiet hum. The maze has carried you through darkness and brightness, through complexity and simplicity, through creation and remembrance, through youth and ancient cycles. And now, as you reach the end of this deep corridor, the dust thins again. Ahead, a long band of stars stretches across your vision. This is the inner edge of the central molecular zone, the boundary between the densely packed maze and the more open space that surrounds the galactic core. From here, you can see both worlds, the crowded heart of the maze and the quieter, broader regions beyond it. You settle at this boundary and breathe gently. You understand something now. The maze is not there to hide the center. It is there to nourish it, to protect it, to feed it, to give shape to the galaxy around it. Without the maze, the Milky Way would be a very different place. With it, the galaxy thrives, and you, floating at the boundary, feel a deep sense of connection to this truth. You are calm, you are safe, you are part of the story. The maze stretches before you like a living tapestry, woven from dust, light, gravity, and time, and the sleeping giant remains quietly at the center of it all. Breathe slowly, and imagine yourself drifting gently back toward the very center of the Milky Way. Not rushing, not falling, but gliding, carried forward by the subtle gravity that whispers from the heart of the galaxy. The dark maze behind you fades into warm distance, its towering clouds and glowing filaments becoming soft silhouettes against the brighter core. Ahead, the dust grows thinner, the stars grow sharper, and the faint hum of the galactic center becomes clearer. You are moving once again towards Sagittarius A, the sleeping giant whose silence shapes everything around it. But this time, your purpose is different. Before, you came to witness its presence. Now, you come to understand its hunger and its rest. You drift slowly into the golden haze that surrounds the black hole, feeling the gentle pull increase with each moment. There is no fear, there is no urgency, there is only a quiet curiosity, drawing you inward like a warm tide. The starlight around you begins to distort subtly, a soft bending barely noticeable at first, as though the universe is curving slightly toward the invisible center. This is the black hole's first language, a bending of space, not violent, not chaotic, just present. A reminder that something immense and ancient lies ahead. As you float closer, you pass through regions where the stars orbit with dizzying speed. These stars, the S-stars, move in perfect ellipses around the giant, their trajectories shaped by its gravity. Some sweep close, just a few light hours away, while others travel farther out in long, graceful arcs. Their motion tells a story of mass so concentrated that nothing else could explain it. A story of hunger so subtle that it can go unnoticed for centuries. You drift closer to one of these stars, its blue-white light shimmering softly against the darkness. As you watch it move, you sense the balance between its momentum and the giant's pull. If the star slows, it falls inward. If it speeds up too much, it escapes outward. But here, in the quiet dance around the black hole, it maintains perfect harmony. This harmony is not just gravity, it is a form of communication, the silent language between the star and the sleeping giant, a language of motion, of distance, of trust. You drift past the star and move deeper still. The dust becomes sparse, the starlight grows sharp and crystalline. Space begins to look cleaner, emptier, almost polished. This is the inner cavity, a region where the black hole has slowly cleared away much of the surrounding matter. It is not feeding, it is fasting, and yet its presence is unmistakable. You feel it in the weight of the space around you, in the slow pulse of distorted starlight, in the way your awareness seems to sink a little deeper with each breath. Sagittarius A is sleeping, but it is never gone. It watches quietly from behind the veil of its own gravity, holding the galaxy together even when it consumes nothing. This is the paradox of a resting black hole. It is hungriest when it's calmest. You drift further in, and the golden haze deepens into warm amber and faint red tones. These colours are not from stars, but from heated gas moving slowly around the giant. Not enough to ignite into a bright accretion disk, not enough to flare or erupt, just enough to glow with the faint warmth of future hunger. Scientists call this the quiescent state, a period when the black hole feeds so slowly that it barely emits radiation. It is resting, digesting, waiting. Black holes do not starve, they only sleep. After long periods of calm, they awaken. When a gas cloud drifts too close, when a star wanders across the event horizon, when a passing object is torn apart and its remains spiral inward. But between these rare meals, Sagittarius A is gentle, soft, silent, almost peaceful. You hover near the faint glow and notice tiny movements, streamlets of gas drifting inward at glacial speed. These streams move so slowly that they will take centuries to spiral into the event horizon. To humans, this motion seems still. To the black hole, it is the first whisper of future feeding. The hunger is patient, an ancient patience that spans millions of years. You breathe softly, letting this thought settle into your awareness. You understand now that a black hole's silence is not emptiness, it is balance. A resting black hole is not inactive, it is simply stable. Its gravity holds the galaxy in perfect equilibrium. Its hunger is controlled. Its silence is part of the order that allows stars to form, dust to gather, and the galaxy to spin. You drift closer, and the faint red glow surrounding the giant gives way to a darker, deeper shadow. Here, the light begins to bend noticeably. Stars behind the black hole stretch into arcs, their shapes distorted as they pass near the event horizon. This is gravitational lensing, the bending of light by a massive object. It is the second language of the black hole, the manipulation of light itself. You drift along the curved arcs, watching the stars stretch and fold into impossible shapes. Their light is neither broken nor lost, just redirected in ways the human mind is not used to seeing. Here, even light must negotiate with gravity. You move inward to the edge of the shadow itself, the last region where photons can circle the black hole before escaping outward. It is called the photon sphere, a place where light orbits the black hole like a ghost caught in a gravitational loop. The photon sphere is not bright. It is subtle, a faint halo that surrounds the darkness, revealing the outline of the event horizon without ever exposing what lies beyond. Here, You feel the gravity intensify slightly, not as a physical pull, but as a quiet pressure on your awareness. Your thoughts grow slower, your breath grows deeper, time feels different, not stretched, not compressed, just softened, as though the edges of each second are blending into one another. This is the third language of the black hole, the bending of time. You drift closer and the shadow enlarges, a perfect sphere of absolute blackness where no light returns. Not a hole in space, but the essence of gravity concentrated into a single point. A place where the universe curves inward so sharply that there is no path outward. The event horizon. You do not cross it. You do not approach dangerously. You remain safely outside, drifting along its invisible boundary. Here, you begin to understand something profound. A black hole is not a monster. It is not a destroyer. It is a region where gravity has achieved perfection. Nothing escapes not because the black hole is violent, but because its pull is absolute. This perfection of gravity is not chaos. It is order in its purest form. You breathe slowly, deeply, letting your awareness float along the edge of this cosmic perfection. And you realize another truth. A black hole is peaceful because it cannot be disturbed. It does not tremble or waver like a star. It does not explode like a supernova. It does not flicker or fade or age. It simply exists, unchanging across billions of years. This stability is the foundation of the galaxy. Without the black hole, the Milky Way would unravel. Its stars would lose their elegant paths. Its spiral arms would stretch into chaotic trails. The structure would collapse. The sleeping giant is the anchor of everything. It is the cosmic heart, not beating, but holding, not shining, but binding, not speaking, but shaping. You drift along the event horizon, watching the faint glow of the photon sphere bend around the shadow. It feels ancient, eternal, sacred, a place where the laws of physics meet their limit, where time halts, where matter transforms into pure geometry, and yet it feels peaceful, soothing, like the deepest silence you have ever known. The hunger of the black hole is not a threat, it is simply nature, a quiet, slow process that unfolds over thousands, millions, billions of years. A black hole does not take, it receives. It does not chase, it waits. It does not destroy, it transforms. You breathe in, soft and slow. You breathe out, long and deep. You're safe. You're calm. You're drifting in the presence of the universe's most mysterious object, and you understand that silence is its greatest power. You drift slowly along the invisible boundary that separates space as we know it from the unknowable interior of Sagittarius A. And the longer you linger here, the more you realize that the black hole's stillness is not the stillness of death, but the stillness of depth. It is the stillness of an ocean so vast and so deep that its calmness comes from sheer magnitude. Nothing disturbs it because everything belongs to it. You breathe gently as you orbit the edge of the event horizon, the quiet frontier between reality and the space inside space. The stars behind you twist into beautiful arcs, like strokes of a cosmic brush painting light around the shadow. These arcs reveal something profound. The black hole is invisible, yes, but it reveals itself through the way it bends the world around it. It is like a silent being whose presence is known not by voice, but by the shape of the silence it creates. You watch the arcs ripple, then settle, as you drift through space that is curved like a soft, invisible bowl. The sensation is strangely comforting. It is something you feel more deeply than you can explain, as though your mind is moving through warm, liquid time. Every breath takes you a little deeper into this quiet understanding. You drift just above the region where matter spirals inward. The thin tidal currents that feed the black hole over ages. Though faint and slow, these streams of gas hold a quiet significance. They are the whisper of the black hole's hunger. Not a violent hunger, not a raging one, but a patient, ancient hunger that moves at the pace of billions of years. You try to imagine the perspective of such a being, how it sees time, how it experiences existence. To a black hole, 1,000 years is a single moment. 1,000,000 years is a single exhale. 1,000,000,000 years is simply its lifespan's breath. Human life, human worries, human noise. They are impossibly small from this vantage point, and yet, somehow, this scale does not diminish you. It frees you. Because you see clearly, your mind, your breath, your awareness are part of something vast and ancient. A cosmic system in which everything is exactly where it must be. You pass through a region where tiny charged particles orbit the black hole at near light speeds. As they move, they emit faint radiation, soft, warm, almost like a glow felt through the skin rather than seen. These particles trace the edges of the black hole's magnetic field, a field so intense that it shapes the dance of matter across thousands of kilometers, and yet it feels gentle from here. A quiet pulse, a subtle breath in the dark. Outside this region, you see the remnants of past meals, gas clouds that drifted too close, stars that were stripped of their outer layers, materials that spiraled inward and vanished beyond the veil. Their traces remain etched into the space around you, gentle waves in the structure of the gravitational field, faint heat left in the surrounding gas, a softened glow that hints at ancient events. The black hole's past is written everywhere, not as scars but as whispers. Nothing dies violently here. Everything transforms. You drift closer to the inner ring of warm gas that circles the black hole like a slow-moving halo. This halo is not bright. It does not roar with the fury of actively feeding black holes seen in distant galaxies. It glows just enough to reveal its shape, a subtle swirl of reds and oranges wrapped smoothly around the dark sphere. It is the calmest form of hunger, a hunger that waits for the universe to deliver what it will. As you float above the halo, you feel your awareness sink deeper yet. The silence grows thicker, the calm grows heavier. Your breath feels anchored to something larger than yourself. You're no longer just an observer, you are part of the stillness, part of the structure, part of the story. And like the black hole, you realize you can rest without disappearing. You can be silent without losing strength. You can be still without being empty. Sagittarius A teaches you with its quiet, with its patience, with its presence. You drift downward, closer to the faintly glowing gas bridge that feeds the black hole in the smallest trickle of matter. This bridge is almost invisible, a thin filament of hot plasma stretching inward like a soft, shimmering thread. It is not constant, it flickers, it shifts. Sometimes it fades completely for decades or centuries. Sometimes it brightens when a drifting cloud touches the outer gravitational edge. This bridge is the black hole's breath, the slow inhale that pulls matter inward and prepares it for the long spiral toward the event horizon. You float beside it now, feeling the soft heat rising from the stream. It is warm, gentle, steady. The glow of the bridge casts faint orange reflections across the surrounding space, like distant fireflies moving through the darkness. The black hole does not pull violently. It does not reach out and seize. It waits for matter to come near enough to cross the threshold of its influence. It is a cosmic monk, quiet, patient, immovable. You drift along the glowing filament and watch it narrow as it spirals inward. Its path winds like a whispered secret around the black hole, each turn tighter than the one before, and then, suddenly, the filament stops. Not physically, but visually. It fades into the darkness beyond the event horizon. This is where matter vanishes from view, where the laws we know cease to apply, where space stops being space and time stops being time. You remain outside, safe, calm, observing. You drift upward again, following the curve of the warped starlight that outlines the black hole's shadow. Here, the universe looks different. The stars ahead of you are not where they appear to be. Their light bends around the giant, creating arcs that around the shadow in soft, beautiful rings. This bending is more than a visual effect. It is a message. The black hole telling you how massive it is, how curved space has become, how deep its silence goes. As you float among the arcs, you feel something inside you become lighter. Your thoughts lose their urgency. Your worries lose their shape. Your emotions settle like dust at the bottom of a warm pool. The silence here is total, and it reaches into you, into your chest, into your breath, into your mind. You realize that silence is not the absence of sound. It is the absence of strain, the absence of resistance, the absence of noise that does not matter. Sagittarius A is silent because it has nothing left to prove, nothing left to chase, nothing left to fear, nothing left to become. It already is what it will always be. Pure gravity, pure stability, pure presence. You drift away from the photon ring and rise slowly into the wider region of softened light where the gravitational curvature is still strong but no longer overwhelming. Here, space feels thick, not heavy, but dense, as though layered with invisible threads pulled taut toward the center. These threads are lines of force, the unseen architecture of the black hole's gravity. Everything near the center is arranged along these lines. The stars, the dust, the gas, the magnetic fields, even the flow of time. You breathe softly and let yourself feel the elegant structure beneath the silence. A structure that has held steady for millions of years. A structure that will hold for millions more. This is the fourth language of the black hole. Order born from absence, structure shaped by nothingness, harmony formed at the edge of the unimaginable. You drift further outward, past the warm glow of the inner halo, and enter a region where the darkness deepens again. Not the menacing darkness of fear, but the deep, restful darkness of quiet space. Here you sense something new. The black hole's influence extends far beyond what you can see. Its gravity reaches across light years, holding entire clusters in place, guiding the paths of countless stars in long, sweeping orbits. The sleeping giant is not inactive. It is working constantly, quietly, shaping the Milky Way with every moment. And as you drift through this vast, soft darkness, you realize silence is also action. Stillness is also strength. Waiting is also power. Sagittarius A is not the absence of force. It is the mastery of it, a presence that shapes the galaxy without moving, that guides billions of stars without shining, that holds everything together without making a sound. Your breath deepens, your thoughts dissolve, your awareness floats. You and the giant share the same stillness now, the same calm, the same softness, and in that unity, you feel something unexpected, a sense of peace so profound that it quiets the deepest parts of your mind. You drift in silence, wrapped in gravity, embraced by the calm hunger of the sleeping giant. You drift in the soft gravitational twilight surrounding the sleeping giant, and for a long moment you feel as though the darkness has accepted you, as though you have become part of the structure of this silent environment. Time loses its sharp edges. Moments stretch like warm taffy. You feel suspended between breaths, between thoughts, between the steady pull of the black hole and the drifting embrace of the stars around it. Nothing here is rushed. Nothing here is abrupt. The galaxy's heart moves at the pace of eternity. And you move with it. You begin drifting outward again, following the natural current of warped space-time that leads you away from the photon sphere and back into the soft glow of the inner region. From this distance, Sagittarius A appears less like a shadow and more like a presence, a deep, quiet indentation in the universe, a place where the cosmos folds inward with infinite patience. You look around and watch how everything, dust, stars, particles, light, bends subtly toward the center. This is not chaos, this is choreography. And the sleeping giant is the choreographer. Every motion is a response. Every orbit is a conversation. Every arc of light is a signature written in the language of gravity. You drift upward toward a cluster of warm, glowing gas that circles the black hole at a safe distance. This gas, soft, orange, faintly illuminated, is the remnant of countless ancient events, star winds, supernova echoes, stripped atmospheres of passing stars, molecules torn apart and reassembled by magnetic fields. All of it has gathered here, forming a luminous fog through which you now glide. The warmth feels comforting, not physical warmth, but the warm colour of quiet cosmic motion. You drift through the fog, and the silence deepens into a kind of soft empathy. You begin sensing not just the environment, but the history written into the environment. Here, you can almost feel the ancient moments that shaped this region. The collapse of massive stars, the slow drift of dust, the rising heat of newborn suns, the tearing of gas clouds that wandered too close, the faint remnants of matter that crossed the threshold and surrendered its identity to the black hole. None of these events remain violent. They have been softened by time, folded gently into the quiet tapestry surrounding the giant. Even destruction becomes calm when it is viewed from the perspective of galaxies. You breathe gently, and as you do, you drift toward an orbiting star, a red giant glowing warmly with deep muted light. Its outer layers pulse slowly, drifting outward in faint waves of gas that move like slow tides. Some of this gas will someday spiral inward toward the black hole. Most will disperse into the surrounding space, becoming part of the molecular clouds that fill the galactic center. This star is a giver. It radiates, it releases, it softens, and in its soft shedding it nourishes everything around it. You watch it pulse and feel your own breath match its rhythm. As it expands and contracts over ages, its life story becomes part of the silent hunger of the black hole. But the star is not afraid. It follows its natural path. It gives what it gives, without force, without anxiety, without hesitation. In this moment, you understand something profound. The black hole's hunger and the star's offering are part of the same cycle. Not predator and prey, but two halves of one cosmic breath. You drift away from the red giant and follow the gentle curvature of space toward a cooler region. Here, small dust particles glisten faintly as they move through the dim light. They are remnants of countless processes: supernova ash, broken molecules, carbon grains, crystals of silicate forged in the hearts of dying stars. These particles drift like snow in the soft twilight, moving quietly toward the deeper maze. Some will eventually become part of new stars. Some will fall inward and vanish. Some will merge into larger clouds that orbit the black hole for millions of years. Each particle has a destiny, not predetermined, but shaped by the graceful chaos of the galactic center. You drift alongside them, watching their gentle motion, and you feel your own thoughts become lighter, smaller, more subtle, more free. The deeper you move into this region, the more you begin to sense the true paradox of the black hole's nature. It is both the quietest and the most powerful object in the galaxy. Nothing here escapes its influence, but nothing here is rushed into its grasp. It does not take, it simply allows. It allows the universe to bring it whatever comes: dust, gas, light, time, and accepts all of it with the same unwavering patience. You drift outward again, toward the boundary where the warm glow of the inner region fades into a deeper, cooler darkness. Here, the gravitational curvature is softer. The motion of stars is gentler. The silence is less thick. This is the quiet edge of the black hole's influence. Far enough that space begins to flatten, but close enough that you can still feel the presence of the giant behind you. You settle here for a moment, breathing softly, letting your mind widen to take in the view. From this vantage point, you can see the black hole not just as a void, but as a structure, a shape in darkness, a negative form that defines everything around it. The stars orbiting, the dust drifting, the gas glowing, the filaments twisting, the halo warming, the space-time bending. The entire choreography is built around a center that gives off no light and makes no sound. And yet it is this quiet center that holds the galaxy together, like a heart that never beats but never stops pumping, like a sun that never shines but warms the paths of stars around it. You breathe in, slowly, letting this truth settle into your chest. You breathe out, gently, feeling the weight of understanding soften. You drift a little farther outward and find yourself in a region filled with faint glowing threads, streams of charged particles moving along the magnetic fields that stretch through the galactic center. These luminous threads shift and shimmer as you pass through them, lighting your path with soft blues and pale violets. They act like veins, carrying energy through the core. And at the root of every thread lies the influence of the sleeping giant. The black hole is not only gravity, it is structure, it is architecture, it is the invisible frame upon which the galaxy hangs. This realization expands through you like a warm breath. You drift past the last of the glowing filaments and enter a region where the stars grow denser again. This is the nuclear star cluster, a crowded sphere of millions of stars packed tightly together near the center. They shimmer in golden and blue hues, their light mixing into a brilliant glow that fills the region like a cosmic lantern. Their presence creates a gentle hum, not a sound, but a sensation, as though their combined gravity is singing softly to the black hole. This cluster is deeply connected to the giant. Many of these stars were born from material influenced by it. Many orbit close enough to feel time itself stretch. Many will eventually drift inward, and become part of the giant's hunger. You drift above the cluster and feel a sense of ancient companionship. The stars and the black hole are not enemies, they are partners. They have shaped each other for billions of years. They will continue shaping each other for billions more. Their relationship is not violent but gravitational, a constant exchange of motion, energy and time. You drift upward, slowly rising above the cluster until the entire region comes into view. The event horizon, the halo of warm gas, the arcs of bent starlight, the filaments, the stars in orbit, the dust in motion, the cluster glowing softly, the maze receding behind. Every structure, every shape, every motion is part of one system, a system centered on the most silent object in the galaxy, Sagittarius A. You breathe deeply and you feel the calm settle into your bones. This giant does not roar, it does not rage, it does not devour violently, it does not shine or tremble or break. It simply holds. It holds the galaxy in balance. It holds time in curvature. It holds silence in gravity. And without knowing, it holds you too. Your breath, your calm, your quiet, presence drifting through its influence. You float higher still, the view widening, the giant growing smaller but never less significant. And as you rise, you understand something deep and unexpected. The peace you feel is the peace of the black hole itself, a peace born from stillness, patience, and absolute certainty. The hunger of Sagittarius A is not frantic, it is not desperate, it is not loud, it is the hunger of something eternal, the hunger of gravity itself, and that hunger, gentle, patient, silent, is part of the universe's most perfect balance. You breathe once more, softly, slowly, and drift into that balance, wrapped in silence, held by gravity, calm in the heart of the galaxy. As you drift farther from the immediate edge of the black hole's shadow, the soft darkness begins to brighten with the slow, shimmering glow of nearby stars. The environment changes, not suddenly but gradually, like dawn blooming behind a distant horizon. The warm halo fades, the bent arcs of light stretch into clarity, and one by one, the stars around you sharpen into brilliant points. These are not ordinary stars, they are the S stars, some of the most extraordinary objects in the Milky Way. They move with speeds that defy intuition. They trace long, elegant ellipses around the black hole, as though performing a silent dance older than humanity itself. You drift toward them, feeling the subtle rise in gravitational motion. Space here is alive with gentle tension, a fabric stretched and curved by the black hole's pull. Yet the stars move with grace. No chaos, no violence, only motion that has been repeating for millions of years. You settle into this region slowly, allowing your awareness to adapt to the new rhythm. The S stars do not shine steadily. Their light fluctuates softly as they rush closer to the black hole, and then drift outward again in long sweeps. This fluctuation is not danger, it is beauty. It is the choreography of extreme gravity. One star in particular draws your attention, a brilliant blue star whose orbit is sharper than the others. This is S2, one of the fastest, most intensely studied stars in our galaxy. Every 16 years it dives inward toward the black hole in a rapid sweep, accelerating so dramatically that even time itself slows down around it. No human eye could witness such a moment without awe. And now you drift beside it as it glides through the quieter part of its orbit. The star burns hot, its blue-white surface shimmering with fierce radiance. Yet around you, the environment remains calm, as if the star's intensity is softened by the peaceful silence of the galactic center. S2 moves with such precision that its orbit has become a tool, a cosmic ruler that scientists use to measure the mass of Sagittarius A, to test Einstein's theories, to map the curvature of space-time itself. But here, you see it differently, not as a tool, not as data, but as a dancer, moving in a pattern so perfect that even the black hole responds by holding its exact place. You drift closer to its path, feeling the subtle shift in gravitational softness as the star rounds the outer curve of its orbit. Even here, far from the black hole by cosmic standards, you can sense the tug of the giant. It is not a pull you can resist or escape. It is simply a presence, a direction, a quiet reminder of the center. S2 curves past you in a sweeping arc, its light trailing gently through the thin dust around it. You watch it move with smooth certainty, unrushed, unafraid. Its entire existence is shaped by the gravity of the giant, and yet it thrives. It burns hot, it moves fast, it holds its identity with perfect elegance. You drift onward, following the smooth curvature of another orbit, this one belonging to a younger star. This star burns whiter, smaller, lighter. Its orbit is tighter, its speed gentler, its path slightly more tilted. Each star here moves in its own style. Some dance in long ellipses, some in tighter loops, some in tilted rings that intersect with those around them. The black hole dictates the rules, but each star has its own way of following them. You breathe deeply as you drift among them, letting your mind relax into the soft hum of orbital motion. Time here is stretched by gravity. Seconds feel thicker, as though each moment holds more space than it should. This sensation is not an illusion. It is gravitational time dilation, the bending of time by the black hole's pull. The closer you move to the center, the slower time flows. The farther you drift out, the faster it resumes. The S-stars experience this constantly. When they dive inward, their time slows relative to the universe. When they swing outward, it speeds up again. But they feel none of this. They simply continue the dance. And now, floating among them, so do you. You drift upward toward a region where the orbits begin to overlap slightly. Here, two young stars race past one another in opposite directions, their sparkling trails weaving together like threads in a tapestry. Their close approach is not dangerous. Their speeds and trajectories are calibrated by gravity itself. They sense each other through the curvature of space. They adjust without thought. They continue without hesitation. This choreography is ancient, the product of billions of years of gravitational sculpting. As you move deeper into the cluster, the stars become more numerous. Their orbits form a soft sphere around the black hole, a living shell of light and motion. You drift through this shell like a visitor moving through a quiet ballroom. Each star is its own dancer. Each motion is its own step. Each orbit is its own story. But together, they create a single pattern, a pattern held in place by the quiet gravity of the giant. You breathe softly, letting your awareness expand into the dance. You feel the motion as a rhythm. You feel the curvature as a pulse. You feel the orbits as lines of motion drawn through space like brushstrokes on the canvas of the galaxy. The entire region vibrates gently with this rhythm, not loudly, not sharply, but like the faint hum of a cosmic symphony playing just beneath conscious thought. You follow one orbit after another, passing along loops that stretch far out into the darkness, then curl sharply inward toward the faint glow of the black hole's halo. This looping motion never ends. It repeats with such reliability that these stars have become one of the universe's most precise clocks. Their paths define the gravitational map of the galaxy's centre. Their speeds reveal the mass of the black hole. Their motions are the evidence of general relativity etched into real space. But as you drift among them, none of this feels analytical. It feels emotional, experiential. A gentle reminder that the universe is not only vast, it is organised in ways that are deeply beautiful. You drift into a quieter region where the stars move more slowly. Here, the orbits broaden into long ellipses that stretch so far outward you cannot see their full arcs. These stars take centuries to complete a single orbit. Some take millennia, but still, they follow the same rules, the same curves, the same silent choreography. The black hole is the centre not only of their motion, but of their purpose. You drift along one of these long orbits, feeling how gradually the star curves inward toward the centre. Its path is patient, unhurried, ancient. It has been dancing long before Earth formed. It will continue dancing long after humanity is gone. And yet, you are here, floating beside it, witnessing the quiet beauty of its motion. You drift closer to the star and sense the faint warmth of its surface. It glows softly, not with the intensity of the hotter stars inside, but with a deep, mature radiance. This star has lived long. It has circled the giant many times. It has survived the turbulence of the galactic centre. It wears its age like a gentle shimmer. The star's long orbit carries you outward toward the boundary where the S-cluster fades into the larger central region. From here, the whole system opens before you. The black hole at the centre, the halo of warm plasma, the arcs of bent starlight, the tight orbits of the inner S-stars, the broader, slower orbits of the outer ones. And beyond that, the deep maze of dust and gas that feeds the centre with its quiet motion. You hover above it all, feeling the silent structure of the galaxy's heart settle into your awareness. You understand now that the S-stars are not chaotic. They are not unstable. They are not random. They are loyal. Each one returns to the black hole over and over again, drawn by gravity, guided by space, connected by a force that is older than the galaxy itself. Their dance is the galaxy's heartbeat. Soft, steady, eternal, and you, floating among them, feel your own breath match that rhythm, slowly, gently, comfortably. You drift deeper into the centre of the cluster, ready to witness the next layer of the dance. You drift deeper into the heart of the S-star cluster, feeling the gravitational texture of the region grow more intricate with every passing moment. Space here is not empty. It is sculpted, layered with invisible gradients and subtle curves that guide each star along its ancient path. You move slowly, gliding through the soft glow that rises from the cluster's core. The stars around you are moving faster now. Their orbits tighten, their speeds increase, their light sharpens into brilliant streaks as they race through space. This is the inner tier of the cosmic dance. You drift toward a young, brilliant star, one of the so-called S-infant stars, barely a few million years old, yet orbiting closer to the black hole than nearly any other. Scientists still question how such young stars formed in such an extreme environment. The tidal forces alone should have torn their birth clouds apart before they ever ignited, and yet, here they are. moving confidently through a region where gravity is stronger than anywhere else in the galaxy. You hover beside the young star, watching its rapid orbit curve sharply inward before sweeping outward again like a sling pulled through space. Its motion is so fast that its spectral lines, the chemical fingerprints of its light, stretch and compress with every turn. This stretching is not an illusion. It is the result of extreme velocity and warped space-time. The star's colour even appears to shift slightly as it moves, bluer when it approaches, redder when it recedes. Its orbit is a visible signature of relativity, and yet the star feels no strain. Its surface burns steadily, its light remains consistent, its movement is elegant despite the unimaginable speed. You drift along its trajectory, feeling the subtle currents of curved space pull and release in rhythmic intervals. The gravity here does not feel violent, it feels precise, as though every orbit, every speed, every tilt is part of a fragile equation, balanced perfectly around the black hole. You pass beyond the star and approach a region where several orbits intertwine. These paths do not collide, they complement each other. Tilted rings that weave together like layers of a cosmic helix. You watch one star descend toward the black hole on a sharply inclined orbit, while another rises on the opposite side, their trails intersecting without ever touching. The choreography is mesmerizing. It feels impossible that such complex motion can remain stable over millions of years. But stability is one of the black hole's most underestimated gifts. By anchoring the center, it allows these stars to move freely without drifting away or collapsing inward. It is a silent partner to the dance. You continue drifting until you reach a star whose orbit is exceptionally elongated. Its path carries it far from the center, almost into the calm outskirts, before pulling it back into a rapid, dizzying dive close to the black hole itself. You observe it at the moment when it begins its descent. Its light grows sharper, its motion accelerates, its gravitational redshift becomes more pronounced. The star feels the pull of the black hole, and responds not by resisting, but by surrendering to the natural flow. This surrender is not weakness, it is harmony. In the galactic center, to fight gravity is to be torn apart, but to move with it is to become part of the dance. You follow the star as it picks up speed. The space around you grows denser with gravitational curvature, and you feel the odd sensation of time slowing just slightly. Your breaths become longer, your thoughts become slower. Your awareness begins to stretch in soft, quiet arcs. This slowing is more than perception, it is time dilation. A real bending of the river of time caused by the black hole's gravity. The star experiences it constantly. It is born into a universe where time moves differently, depending on its distance from the center. Yet it dances through this with absolute ease. You drift beside it until it reaches the periaps, its closest point to the black hole. Here, its speed becomes extreme, fast enough that its orbit shifts slightly with every revolution. This shifting, known as acidal precession, is a direct signature of general relativity. The star's orbit does not close perfectly. It advances. It spirals slowly, gracefully, over centuries. To you, it looks like a flower unfurling in slow motion. Each orbit a new petal opening around the center. You drift back, watching the spiral expand elegantly. This spiral is not chaos. It is geometry. It is the universe revealing its laws through motion. You breathe deeply, feeling the calm of that understanding. Farther ahead you see another star. this one older, larger, burning with a softer golden hue. Its orbit is smoother, more circular, more comfortable. It has settled into its path over millions of years, allowing the giant to sculpt its motion into quiet perfection. You drift alongside it and feel its warmth, not heat, but a gentle radiance that fills the region with soft light. This star's orbit is steady, predictable. It does not rush inward nor fling outward. It moves like a pendulum at rest, like a mind that has accepted its place in the cosmic pattern. You move past it and enter a region where multiple stars orbit together, a small gravitational family bound not only to the black hole, but also to each other. Their motions are synchronized in subtle ways, their velocities aligned, their paths tuned by decades of interaction. They orbit not as individuals, but as a cluster. Their gentle interdependence is soothing to witness. You drift around them slowly, watching how their orbits flow in soft curves that complement one another. This cooperative motion reveals a deeper truth. Even in the most extreme environments, the universe tends toward harmony, not because harmony is forced, but because balance is the natural state when every object respects the laws that govern it. The black hole does not command them. It does not push or pull violently. It simply shapes the space they move through, and they respond by finding the paths that require the least resistance. Paths of beauty, paths of ease, paths of instinctive simplicity. You drift outward again, toward the region where the stars slow down slightly. Their light becomes softer, their motion smoother, their orbits wider. This is where the cluster melts into the larger population of the galactic center. The dance is still happening, but more quietly. You float above it all, watching the stars complete their long arcs, their elegant loops, their spiraling patterns. From this vantage point, you can see that the entire region is a single structure, a glowing sphere of stars held together by invisible lines of gravitational music. The galactic center is not defined by the black hole alone. It is defined by the relationship between the black hole and the stars that orbit it. Together, they create a system of breathtaking precision. You breathe slowly and feel the same precision settle into your thoughts. You understand now. The stars do not orbit because they are trapped. They orbit because they belong. This is not captivity. It is choreography. A cosmic ballet of motion and time, anchored by a giant that never moves and never speaks, yet shapes everything around it. You drift softly among the outer orbits, feeling the peaceful rhythm of stars that have known billions of years of motion. Their patience is woven into the light they emit. Their calm is written into the shadows between them. Their wisdom is etched into the curves of their paths. You realize then that you're not only observing the dance, you're learning its language, the language of silence, the language of stability, the language of motion guided by gravity, balanced by time, softened by distance, and perfected through eternity. Here, in the quiet space between the orbits, you drift gently, peacefully, ready to follow the stars into the next layer of the dance. You drift further outward, where the orbits widen and the stars' motions become longer, slower, more contemplative. The center of the galaxy opens around you like a soft glowing sphere. Hundreds of stars moving in patient curves, each tracing its own ancient route. Here, the dance is more spacious, more relaxed. The rush of the inner orbits gives way to a quiet, steady rhythm. The stars here do not dive sharply inward like the younger S stars. They follow broad elliptical paths, cosmic breaths that stretch across light years before curving gently back toward the giant. As you drift through this region, you feel the calm settle deeper, spreading through your chest like warm starlight. Each orbit is a long thought. Each revolution is a reflection. Each curve is a reminder that even the most powerful forces move with patience. The stars speak in long sentences written in motion, and you, floating softly among them, hear the meaning of those sentences without needing words. You drift toward another remarkable star, older, larger, and glowing with a pale, steady white. Its orbit is nearly circular, as though time itself has smoothed out the sharper edges of its path. It has spent millions of years perfecting this motion. With every revolution, the orbit becomes more refined, a shape carved not by force, but by repetition, by rhythm, by surrender to the laws of nature. You move alongside it, feeling the gentle breeze of its radiation, warm and constant. This star is not in a hurry. It circles the giant with the ease of something that has accepted its place in the universe, and in its calm orbit you sense something profound. This region is not held together by fear or violence or destruction. It is held together by relationship, a relationship between mass and motion, gravity and time, stars and silence, light and darkness. Everything here moves because something else is moving. Everything rests because something else is holding. The dance is a chain of trust stretching across light years. You drift upward into a higher lane of orbits. Here, the stars are smaller. Dim red dwarfs that glow with soft embers like warmth. Their light is faint, but their presence is steady. They orbit at great distances from the black hole, yet the rhythm of the dance still flows through them. You drift beside one, its glow gentle, its path smooth. It completes an orbit every few hundred years, its motion steady and reliable. This star may seem simple, but its sensitivity to the black hole's gravity is a quiet testament to the reach of the giant's influence. Even far away, the center holds everything together. As you drift beyond it, you enter a region where the stars are more sparsely spaced, but each one still belongs to the dance. Their motions align in subtle ways, slight tilts in their orbital planes, soft arcs that all gently curve toward the same invisible point. It is as though the black hole breathes outward into the galaxy, shaping the motion of everything it touches. And in that outward breath, you sense an unexpected harmony. The closer you are to the giant, the more intense and fast the dance. The farther you drift, the more graceful and spacious the movement becomes. Like music that begins in a powerful crescendo and expands outward into a sweeping, gentle melody. You move toward a region filled with faint dust. The dust glitters like powdered starlight, each grain reflecting the soft glow of nearby suns. This dust is the record of ancient collisions, supernova remnants, slowly evaporating comets, and shattered ice crystals from long-lost worlds. It drifts slowly through the star-filled space, carried by faint winds formed from the light of stars and the motion of the galaxy itself. You pass through the dust like drifting through mist, and suddenly, as though responding to your presence, the region quiets even more. The stars spread farther apart. Their light deepens into warm hues. The curves of their motion become soft, broad, and wonderfully slow. This is the outermost layer of the S-star system. Here, the dance becomes so gentle that time seems to stretch even further. You feel it in the depth of your breath, in the looseness of your thoughts, in the soft expansion of your awareness. You drift for a moment, letting the stillness settle into you. And as it does, you begin to see something you had not noticed before. The orbits are not just paths, they are stories. Each star is telling the same story in a different way, a story of gravitational devotion, of cosmic balance, of motion guided by an unseen hand. Each orbit is a chapter, each revolution is a retelling, each curve is a whisper of the same truth. The center holds, and everything else moves in peace because of that. You float back slightly to see the entire cluster at once. From this vantage point, the stars form a glowing spherical web, threads of light woven around darkness. Some threads are tight and bright, moving rapidly near the giant. Some are long and spacious, drifting outward across quiet distances. Some spiral, some tilt, some nearly circle in place. Together they form a choreography so complex that no human artist could duplicate it. And yet, it is natural, effortless, stable. The dance of the stars is not random. It is the visible shape of space-time itself, curved by the black hole into patterns of motion that reveal the hidden geometry of the universe. You drift even farther out, just enough to see the full structure of the dance. At the center, the black hole rests in perfect silence, a dark sphere surrounded by a halo of warm gas. Around it, the inner S-stars race in tight, elegant orbits. Farther out, the older stars move in broader paths, their motion calmer, their rhythm slower. Beyond them, the outer cluster moves like a vast glowing cloud, a living sphere of motion held together by the invisible hand of gravity. The entire region looks alive, not just with stars, but with meaning, with memory, with a sense of ancient purpose. You breathe softly and feel the scale of it. This dance has been happening for longer than Earth has existed. It will continue long after the last human breath. It does not depend on us. It does not require us. And yet, we are here, witnessing it, understanding it, being moved by it. In the silence of the galactic center, you understand something rare and profound. Gravity is not force, it is relationship. The stars do not orbit because they are trapped. They orbit because they are connected. They orbit because the center gives them their motion, because the core gives them their meaning, because the giant gives them their place. This realization settles into you with a warm, steady calm. You drift upward one last time, your view expanding until the entire S-star cluster glows beneath you like a celestial lantern. Every star, every orbit, every curve is part of the same pattern. A pattern shaped by silence, by precision, by gravity, by time. And at the center, unmoving, unchanging, unshakable, rests the black hole. Not a monster, not a destroyer, but a conductor. The silent conductor of the galaxy's most beautiful dance. And as you float in the quiet darkness above the stars, you feel yourself become part of that perfect, eternal rhythm. You drift slowly upward, leaving behind the glowing sphere of dancing stars, and the silence thickens into something deeper, something older. The galactic center is not just a place, it is a story, a memory, a record written in gravity and starlight. And now, you are moving backward through that memory. The stars around you fade into a faint golden haze. Their light softens until it feels like flickers of ancient lanterns caught in distant fog. In this softened space, time begins to loosen. Not in rushes, but in gentle waves. You drift, and the present slides quietly aside, revealing the deep past beneath it. Nothing here speaks aloud. Nothing here announces itself. The history of the galaxy is whispered through structure, through motion, through faint echoes still lingering in the space around the giant. You breathe slowly, sinking deeper into the calm. The first memory appears faintly, a soft glow, a ripple, a suggestion of heat. This is the era before the black hole existed, before the center collapsed, before gravity curled inward with such intensity. Billions of years ago, the Milky Way's core was a chaotic cradle of star formation, a region dense with clouds, shockwaves, and newborn suns. Massive stars flared violently and died quickly, each explosion sending waves of gas crashing into one another. The center was not calm then. It was a storm that lasted tens of millions of years. You drift into this memory, not as a participant but as a gentle observer, watching the ancient chaos unfold around you. Huge blue stars ignite in clusters, their ultraviolet light ripping through the dusty fog. Their winds blow caverns in the gas. Their eruptions shake the region with violent pressure. The space around you glows with heat, with fury, with unstoppable creation. But beneath the intensity, you sense something forming, something assembling quietly, inevitably. The giant is being born. You drift toward the densest region, where massive stars burn brightest. One collapses, then another, and another. Each collapse forms a small black hole, tiny compared to Sagittarius A, but powerful enough to distort the local space. These infant black holes move through the star cluster like seeds, quiet, invisible, but heavy. Gravity pulls them inward toward one another. They merge, they combine, they grow. Some absorb gas clouds, some swallow dying stars, some collide, forming larger and larger gravitational cores. And slowly, over millions of years, a single object begins to dominate. A black hole gathers from the debris, from the collapses, from the violent birth cries of the galaxy. It becomes the center of weight, the center of heat, the center of collapse, and eventually the center of everything. You drift backward in time, even deeper, into the moment when the giant becomes undeniable. A huge gas cloud falls inward, its mass enormous, its collapse unstoppable. It spirals rapidly, heating, compressing, twisting into a disk of fire. The newborn black hole feeds on this cloud with a brightness that could be seen halfway across the universe. It glows like a quasar, though not as bright as the titanic black holes in distant galaxies. Still, for the young Milky Way, this was a beacon, a flare, a declaration. The sleeping giant did not always sleep. You drift through the echo of this ancient feeding, watching the swirling plasma light the darkness in brilliant arcs. Even now, in your quiet present, you can feel the residue of this long-ago brightness in the warm halo around the giant. That ancient light is gone, but its afterglow still lives in the structure of the galactic center. You drift upward, watching the early black hole settle into its role. With each passing million years, the region becomes less chaotic. Gas clouds begin to organize around the giant. Star clusters begin forming in stable structures. The pressure waves left by ancient explosions smooth out into gentle currents. The black hole does not merely sit at the center. It begins to sculpt. It draws in some material. It stabilizes others. It shapes the flow of vast molecular clouds. It guides the orbits of early star clusters. Its gravity becomes the invisible architect of the galaxy. You drift near an ancient star cluster, one of the early families born in the chaotic core. These stars have long since aged. Many burned out, Many drifted away, many merged, but their descendants remain in the orbits, in the distribution of mass, in the curved flow of the molecular maze. The black hole was not only present during their formation, it was responsible for their arrangement. Without the giant, the core would have dissolved into random motion. With it, the center becomes a coherent, structured, harmonious sphere. You drift deeper into the memory, watching as millions of years pass like gentle waves. The giant grows slowly, not explosively, not violently, but steadily. A star falls inward every 100,000 years. A cloud drifts close every few million. A cluster migrates inward and dissolves into heat. Each event feeds the giant tiny amounts. Over billions of years, these tiny amounts accumulate. The giant becomes what it is today: quiet, massive, ancient, and still growing. You breathe deeply, feeling the weight of that age. The black hole is older than every planet in the solar system, older than Earth's oceans, older than life. It has watched the galaxy evolve. It has shaped the spiral arms. It has anchored the rotation of billions of stars. And through all of it remains silent. Gravity does not need to speak. It simply holds. And through that holding, it creates. You drift into the deeper memories, the ones written not in light, but in motion. The Milky Way's bar begins forming, a long horizontal structure of stars and gas stretching outward from the center. This bar channels material inward, fueling bursts of star formation near the black hole. You witness one of these ancient starbursts, a time when the inner galaxy filled with newborn stars. Hundreds of thousands light up the region in brilliant clusters, their blue-white glow filling the galactic center with youthful radiance. Many of these stars no longer exist. They lived short, intense lives and died as supernovae, but their remnants, their ashes, their gravitational footprints, their shock waves still shape the core, and the black hole was the anchor for all of it. Every burst, every collapse, every orbit, every cloud. The galaxy evolved around the giant because the giant gave it something rare, a stable center in a chaotic universe. You drift upward again, passing through the quiet layers of ancient history. As you rise, you see how the patterns deepen. Gas flows inward in spirals, star clusters orbit and dissolve, dust lanes form long tendrils that circle the core like cosmic rivers. All these structures exist because the giant shapes the space they move through. You reach a region where the memory begins to merge with the present. The dust thickens, the glow strengthens, the motion becomes familiar again, and there, through the soft haze, you see the black hole as it is now, silent, resting, massive, patient, not the devouring engine of its youth, but the calm, mature center of a fully formed galaxy. You breathe deeply. A sense of continuity fills your awareness. The giant is not merely ancient, it is ancestral. The Milky Way is not merely a spiral, it is a structure built around a memory held in the gravity of the black hole. The giant has stopped raging. It has stopped glowing with quasar brightness. It has settled into quiet authority. It no longer feeds rapidly. It no longer reshapes its environment violently. It stabilizes. It harmonizes. It anchors. Its silence is not emptiness. Its silence is wisdom. And now, floating in its presence, you begin to feel the depth of that wisdom settling into you as well. The past was not chaotic noise. It was a journey that led from fire to calm, from collapse to structure, from violence to harmony, from a newborn black hole to the silent heart of a galaxy. And that journey continues through you. You drift quietly, slowly, ready to enter the next layer of the ancient story. You drift gently forward, letting the ancient past unfold around you like a quiet tapestry. The light of the present fades behind you. The noise of modern stars dims into soft echoes, and the history of the galaxy rises again in warm, muted shapes. Time becomes softer here, thicker. Not something that passes, but something you move through, like drifting through layers of cosmic memory. The black hole's ancient influence still lingers in every corner of this region. Not as shockwaves, not as blazing jets, not as violent accretion, but as faint patterns, subtle structures woven into the fabric of the galactic core. You approach one of these structures now, a long curved ribbon of stars, a stellar stream, stretching through the central region like a frozen river of light. This stream is the remnant of a star cluster that once drifted too close. Millions of years ago, the cluster orbited the giant as a single, unified family. Dozens of stars held together by their own mutual gravity. But as the cluster passed near the black hole, its shape stretched, its center distorted, its outer stars were pulled into long arcs. Slowly, over thousands of orbits, the cluster unraveled, its family scattered into a flowing stream that still circles the core today. You drift above it, and it looks like a slow-motion waterfall, stars cascading in a luminous curve. Even now, long after the cluster dissolved, the memory of its shape still glows, and its stars, though separated, still move in harmony. This ancient disruption is not chaos, it is transformation. The cluster was not destroyed, it was reshaped, absorbed into the larger rhythm of the galaxy. You breathe softly as you drift onward. Ahead, you see something extraordinary, a faint bubble. A spherical cavity in the gas and dust expands across hundreds of light years. Its edges glow with deep red light, as though warmed by an ancient fire. This bubble is the remnant of a long-gone starburst. Millions of years ago, a wave of intense star formation swept through the core, a period when the galaxy produced stars at 10 times its usual rate. Clusters ignited, massive stars were born. Their UV radiation carved out cavities in the surrounding gas. Their winds pushed matter outward in huge arcs, and when they died, exploding a supernova, the shock waves expanded the cavities into enormous bubbles. You drift through one of them now. The bubble feels quiet, soft, empty, but not in a lonely way. It feels like a room where someone once spoke loudly and now the air remembers the echo. The bubble is a memory of brilliant, short-lived stars that helped shape the entire core. Some of these stars fed the black hole with their remnants. Others pushed material outward into the molecular maze. Others collapsed into neutron stars or small black holes that now drift silently through the center. You pass through the faint glow of the cavity's rim, a thin shell of warm hydrogen still glowing from ancient starlight. The past is not gone. It is layered into the present. You drift deeper into the memory layers. As you move, you see thin, dark structures, long lanes of dense dust that curve through the center like cosmic roots. These are the earliest dust filaments formed after the ancient starbursts. They act like rivers, guiding the flow of matter toward the black hole. Some of these filaments still exist today, broader, denser, more complex, but their origins are older than most of the stars in the S cluster. You move through one now, dark, cool, quiet. Inside it, you feel sheltered, as though wrapped in the soft folds of time. These filaments are not empty. They are rich with molecules, carbon chains, oxygen compounds, the earliest seeds of future stars. And long ago they fed the giant in great spirals, streams of matter that brightened the black hole for centuries at a time. Those ancient feedings are gone now, but the memory remains in the shape and chemistry of the surrounding gas. You drift out of the filament and enter a region that glows with faint purple light. This region is filled with high-energy particles left from ancient jets, bursts of plasma launched from the black hole millions of years ago when it was more active. These jets did not destroy anything. Instead, they heated the gas and triggered new waves of star formation. You can still feel the lingering heat, soft, distant, spread thin across the region. It is a reminder that the black hole was once more vibrant, more expressive. It was not always the calm, resting giant you know today. It once spoke in light. It once shaped the galaxy with soundless flares and silent jets. And though it sleeps now, its earlier voice is written into the chemistry of the galactic center. You drift deeper into this warm haze and see clusters begin forming around you. These are ancient clusters, survivors of the starburst eras. Their stars are old and golden, their surfaces cooled from billions of years of burning. They move slowly, majestically, as though they carry the patience of time itself. Each cluster contains thousands of stars, once born together, still moving together. The black hole did not destroy them. It guided them. It set the outer boundaries of their motion. It defined the shape of their orbits. You drift through one cluster, and their warm amber light wraps around you like a cosmic blanket. Some of these stars have planets. Some planets may have once had atmospheres. Some may still orbit quietly in the shadows of their ancient suns. This region feels sacred. Sanctuary of old starlight preserved through ages. You float onward, and the clusters grow sparse again. Ahead, a remarkable structure appears. A long curling band of gas and dust arching around the centre like a cosmic archway. This structure is the remnant of one of the oldest infalling clouds ever recorded. Millions of years ago, this cloud spiraled inward toward the black hole, but instead of falling in completely, most of it was sheared apart, spun around, and stabilized into this arch. Today, it is a nursery for thousands of young stars. The black hole did not consume the cloud. It shaped it into a cradle. As you pass beneath the arch, young stars flicker around you like fireflies. Some burn blue, some burn white, some glow red with quiet warmth. Each one exists because of the giant, not in spite of it. You drift through the starlit arch and emerge into the open space beyond, where the density drops and the motions slow. Here you find the ancient quiet, the quiet that existed before the starbursts, before the filaments, before the giant finished forming. The space feels empty, but it is not. It is full of memory. You drift through this stillness and begin to sense how the galaxy's history was not random. It was guided. Every cluster that formed, every cloud that drifted, every star that moved, every filament that curled, every orbit that stabilized, all of it was shaped by the presence of the growing black hole. The past was a collaboration between gravity and creation, and the black hole was the quiet center of that collaboration. You drift higher, your view widening until the entire central region appears beneath you. The giant at the core, the warm halo surrounding it, the dancing S-stars, the older orbits beyond, the filaments and streams, the ancient clusters, the starburst remnants, the dusty maze, the quiet cavities, the faint chemical traces of ancient jets. The whole history is visible at once. It is not a timeline, it is a structure shaped by patience, by gravity, by silence. And as you hover here, you feel that silence settle into you again, a deep, calm stillness that softens your breath and steadies your thoughts. The past was not violent noise, it was necessary motion. It was the universe assembling complexity from chaos. And through it all, the giant held its place, not as a destroyer, not as a tyrant, but as an anchor that allowed the galaxy to grow around it. You drift gently, feeling the truth of that like a warm pulse in the quiet darkness. The ancient past is no longer distant, it is part of you now. You understand how the giant formed, how it grew, how it shaped the Milky Way before any planet or life or human story began. And as you breathe softly, you prepare to enter the final layer of this chapter, the last piece of the ancient story. A story that reveals what the galaxy became after the era of storms, and how the sleeping giant now guides everything with its silent presence. You drift softly through the fading glow of the ancient star-forming arch, and the quiet expands around you like a deep cosmic breath. Here, at the edge of memory and present, the galaxy reveals the most delicate part of its history, the moment when chaos became harmony. The violent starbursts have faded, the gas clouds have settled, the dust lanes have found their elegant curves, the black hole has finished its early growth and entered a calmer, more stable era. You float in this transition, a place where the echoes of the past merge with the gentle heartbeat of the present. The ancient storms that once shook this region are now softened into faint patterns you can barely sense. A slight warm tint in the molecular gas, a widened gap in the dust, a distorted arc in the starlight, a whisper of magnetic tension lingering in the void. These small remnants are all that remain of a time when the galaxy's centre flamed with an intensity we can scarcely imagine, and yet the silence here feels deeper because of that history. Everything you see around you, the swirling dust, the glowing clusters, the delicate filaments, is the product of millions of years of cosmic refinement. The galaxy was not born peaceful, it became peaceful. You drift into a region where star clusters have aged together, clusters that formed in the aftermath of the great starbursts. Their stars glow with gentle amber light, each one softened by billions of years of quiet burning. Some are giants slowly shedding their outer layers, some are dwarfs barely sipping their hydrogen, some are fading embers on the edge of extinction. But all of them move with the same serenity, a calm they earned after surviving the turbulent youth of the galaxy. You glide through their warm glow, feeling the weight of time like a soft blanket settling around you. These stars have been circling the giant since long before Earth cooled. They have felt every gravitational whisper the black hole has given. They have witnessed the birth and death of entire star families, and still they shine. Quiet, consistent, suspended in the rhythm of the core. You drift deeper still into a region where the gas has been sculpted into long curling shapes. These shapes are the fingerprints of ancient gravitational tides, gentle warps that the black hole and star clusters have left behind over millions of years. They look like frozen waves in an invisible ocean. Some curve inward toward the centre, some spiral outward into the arms of the galaxy. Some twist into loops like cosmic calligraphy. This is the script of the Milky Way's past, written not in ink, but in gravity. As you pass over one of these waves, you notice how it bends light around it like a lens. These waves are dense regions, nurseries where new stars once tried to ignite but never gathered enough mass. The black hole affected these regions too, not by consuming them, but by shaping the pressure and flow of the surrounding gas. Even in its silence, the giant has always been sculpting. You drift onward, your path widening until you reach a vast low-density chamber, a quiet pocket in the centre of the galaxy. The stars here are sparse, the dust is faint, the gas is thin. It feels like a cathedral, a hollow carved by ancient events and preserved by cosmic calm. You pause, hovering in this open space, letting the stillness settle inside you. This chamber marks the moment when the galaxy's centre finally stabilised, when the last great starburst ended, when the black hole finished its major growth, when the chaotic inflows calmed into gentle spirals. You are floating in the echo of balance forming. It is a strange feeling to sense both the absence of the old chaos and the presence of the new harmony. It feels like the universe exhaling. You glide slowly across the chamber, and ahead you see a structure that stands out sharply. A ring of dense, glowing dust circling the core like a cosmic crown. This is the circumnuclear ring, a vibrant, star-forming ring that emerged after the galaxy settled. It is one of the galaxy's most beautiful creations, formed from gas that the black hole shaped but did not consume. You drift above the ring, watching bright knots of gas collapse into newborn stars. Some shine blue and hot, some glow red and warm, some are still hidden inside their dusty cocoons. This ring is a testament to the black hole's maturity. In its youth, it fed rapidly and violently. Now, it guides the flow of material without devouring it. It allows star formation to thrive right beside it. This harmony did not always exist. It was earned through ages of interaction. You float around the ring, feeling its light warm your senses. The stars here are young, the opposite of the ancient golden clusters you passed earlier. Their presence creates a strange juxtaposition. The oldest and the youngest stars in the galaxy both orbit the same giant. The black hole connects generations. It connects stories that span billions of years. You drift higher, observing how the dust ring sits within a larger structure. Two massive lobes of faint radio emission stretching above and below the galaxy. These lobes are the fossil remains of huge eruptions the black hole once created. Like distant smoke frozen in time, they rise thousands of light years into the galactic halo, quiet remnants of events that once flooded the galaxy with energy. You float near the base of one of the lobes, feeling the faint residue of heat, motion, and ancient acceleration. The black hole was not always a sleeping giant. Long ago it spoke in powerful voices, jets, winds, flares, and radiant storms. Those voices shaped the galaxy's structure, pushed gas outward, triggered star formation, and carved pathways through the halo. But now, those voices are quiet, and yet their echoes still shape the present. You drift back downward toward the centre, passing through the quiet ring of dust and the golden clusters beyond it. All the while, a gentle truth forms in your awareness. The Milky Way is not a random spiral floating in empty space. It is the descendant of billions of years of gravitational design. And the architect, the quiet designer, has always been the black hole. Not through violence, not through hunger, but through presence, through its steady mass, its unchanging position, its anchoring silence. You float through the soft glow of the molecular maze again, but this time you see it differently. This maze is not the beginning. It is the result of everything that came before. Every collision, every burst, every collapse, every quiet moulding by the giant's gravity has shaped this region into its current form. The past is alive in every molecule. You drift slowly, letting yourself feel the entire timeline at once, the violent youth, the merging seeds of early black holes, the birth of the giant, the quasar glow, the starburst storms, the settling waves, the formation of the maze, the rise of the S-stars, the calm that followed, the sleeping giant in the middle of it all. Each era pours into the next like layers of ancient sediment. You're floating in the bedrock of galactic history, and the silence you feel is the silence earned after billions of years of cosmic motion. You drift upward, one last time, until you see the entire core spread beneath you. The warm dust ring, the ancient clusters, the glowing filaments, the dancing S-stars, the halo of warm gas, and at the deepest centre, the quiet shadow of Sagittarius A. Everything you see, every orbit, every cloud, every star exists because of the giant, not as a ruler, but as a foundation. Not through force, but through stability. Not through destruction, but through shape. The galaxy did not grow around the black hole by accident. It grew because the black hole allowed it to. And as you float in this deep, restful quiet, you realize something that feels like a revelation. The ancient past of the giant is not a story of violence. It is a story of creation, messy, chaotic, but purposeful. A story of gravity learning to hold, a story of chaos becoming order, a story of darkness becoming the quiet center of a galaxy filled with light. You drift in silence, peacefully, feeling the entire timeline settle into you like a warm, steady pulse. The past is complete. The giant rests, and you, floating in the quiet heart of the Milky Way, rest with it. You drift quietly above the galactic center, surrounded by the soft glow of ancient stars and the deep, steady silence of the black hole below. But this time, you are not looking backward into the memories of the galaxy. You are looking forward into its future. The past has already shaped the giant. The present holds its calm, its patience, its silence. But the future is still unfolding, and now you begin drifting into that unfolding moment. The slow, elegant motion of what the galaxy will one day become. The stars beneath you continue their quiet dance, their orbits steady and predictable. But even their certainty is temporary. Their paths, their speeds, their relationships will change over billions, then billions of years. Everything you see is stable, but not permanent. The galaxy moves through time as gracefully as it moves through space, and Sagittarius A, the silent giant, rests at the center of that motion. You drift down toward the black hole again, not toward its past, but toward the story it has not yet lived. The first change you notice is small, subtle, barely perceptible. It begins with the stars themselves. The S-stars will not always remain so young, so hot, so bright. They will age. They will expand. They will burn more slowly. Their orbits will begin to shift, not dramatically, but delicately, like the slow settling of a riverbed over time. Some stars will grow heavier as they evolve. Others will shed mass and become lighter. A few will be pushed outward by interactions with neighbouring stars, but some will move inward. Not all at once, not violently, but gradually, over millions of years, slow drift, slow migration, slow change. And one day, perhaps in a few million years, perhaps in 10 million, a star will wander too close. Not a dramatic plunge, not a sudden fall, just a quiet approach beyond the safe boundary of stability. This star will begin to stretch. Its surface will elongate as tidal forces pull gently on its outer layers. It will not notice at first. Stars have no awareness of their shapes. But the black hole will feel it, the soft tug of stellar material moving through its gravity, and then, slowly, the star will begin to unravel, not explode, not vanish, but unravel, like silk being pulled into a thin, glowing thread. This process is called tidal stripping, and it feeds the black hole with the quietest and most elegant of meals. The black hole does not devour the star in a single moment. It draws a thin stream of gas from the outer layers, pulling it into a spiral of glowing plasma. This stream wraps itself around the black hole in a delicate arc, heating as it falls inward, and then, for a brief time, Sagittarius A will shine. Not like a quasar, not like an explosion, but like a soft, warm flare in the darkness, a herald that the sleeping giant has stirred. You drift above the black hole, imagining this moment, a future ripple in the galaxy's calm. The flare will last a few months, maybe a few years, and then it will fade. The star will move away again, lighter now, missing a small part of itself. The black hole will return to silence. This will happen countless times over the next 100 million years. Stars will approach, stars will retreat, stars will give small offerings of their outer layers. The giant will wake quietly, then sleep again. This is the near future. Gentle cycles, minor flares, slow changes. But farther ahead, in the deep future, the story grows larger. You drift outward into the wide galaxy, past the S-star cluster, past the warm dust ring, past the molecular maze. The spiral arms stretch outward in vast glowing arcs. Their stars move slowly, softly, following the pull of the galactic core. You watch the arms rotate, not quickly but steadily, like ancient cosmic wheels turning through time. And now, you begin to sense a force far beyond the Milky Way, a faint pull, a distant presence, a coming change on a scale much larger than any star or dust cloud, the Andromeda galaxy. You drift farther outward into the intergalactic darkness, and there, far beyond the halo of stars, you see it, a faint, glowing, blue-white spiral approaching the Milky Way with slow, inevitable motion. It is closer every day, every hour, every breath. Not fast, only 110 kilometers per second, but certain. In 4 billion years the galaxies will touch, their halos will merge, their stars will intermix, their shapes will distort into long bridges of flowing light, and at the centers of both galaxies, 2 black holes will begin their own dance. You drift back toward the Milky Way's core, imagining that future moment. As Andromeda approaches, the gravity of both galaxies will stretch and distort the spiral arms. Stars will shift into new orbits. Some will be flung into intergalactic space. Others will drift inward toward the center. Gas clouds will collide. Starbursts will ignite. New clusters will form. The galactic center will awaken with renewed energy. Sagittarius A will not be harmed, but it will be fed. Large clouds will fall inward. Clusters will drift toward the core. Gas streams will spiral into the giant's gravity. For a brief era, perhaps a few million years, the sleeping giant will glow again like it did in its youth. Not violently, but brightly. A soft resurgence of ancient power. You drift within the galaxy as you imagine this glow, a deep warm flare spreading through the core, illuminating the dust, warping starlight, sending subtle ripples through the surrounding space. And then, quietly, inevitably, the two black holes will approach each other. Sagittarius A, Andromeda's central black hole, M31 both giants, both ancient, both heavy. They will circle each other for millions of years, spiraling inward as they shed energy through gravitational waves. This cosmic dance will be slow, soft, beautiful, a union of two dark hearts in the silence of merged galaxies. And when they finally meet, when their event horizons touch, they will merge into something greater, a single black hole. Twice the mass, twice the gravity, twice the influence. A new giant at the center of a new galaxy, a galaxy reshaped by billions of years of motion. You drift near Sagittarius A, feeling the quiet power of this future settle into your mind. The giant's destiny is not to remain what it is today. It will grow. It will merge. It will reshape itself as the universe evolves, and through it all, its silence will remain. Even as galaxies collide, even as stars drift into new configurations, even as black holes merge in cosmic union, the essence of the giant will not change. Its presence, its gravity, its stillness, its way of shaping everything around it. You drift gently downward, feeling the future as a soft echo rather than a prediction. The stars around you continue their calm motion, unaware of the epic journey that awaits them, and the black hole, silent, ancient, resting, waits without impatience. Time means nothing to it. 4 billion years is only a passing moment. The merger is not an event. It is simply a part of the rhythm of galaxies. You breathe gently, letting your awareness settle into that rhythm. You understand the future not as a single moment, but as a long, slow unfolding, a spiral through time, a merging of paths, a collaboration between gravity and motion. And you drift softly into the next layer of that unfolding, ready to continue the journey into the giant's future. You drift back toward the heart of the Milky Way, letting the distant vision of the Andromeda merger soften into a quiet glow in your thoughts. Time flows again as slowly as drifting light. The stars resume their gentle dance. The dust glimmers in warm gold. The giant rests below you like a still, dark lake in the center of an ancient forest. But you know now what awaits it, the long journey toward union, toward transformation. And yet, the future holds many chapters before that final merging. You drift closer to the cluster of S stars, watching their bright light flicker softly against the faint dust. In a few million years, some of these stars will begin to fade. Their surfaces will grow cooler, their sizes will expand, their colors will shift from blue to white, from white to yellow, from yellow to red. You drift into their future, imagining how the cluster will evolve. The young blue stars will swell into red giants, their outer layers pulsing like slow, soft breaths. As they expand, the black hole's tides will tug gently on their outer skins, not enough to destroy them, but enough to peel away thin layers over thousands of orbits. These thin layers will form delicate spirals that glow faintly as they fall inward. Threads of starlight woven into the future of the giant. Some stars will shrink again after shedding their atmospheres, collapsing into white dwarfs, small, hot cores that will orbit the giant for billions of years. Others will collapse more violently and become neutron stars, their surfaces crushed so tightly that a teaspoon of their matter would weigh as much as a mountain. A few may become black holes themselves, small companions to the giant circling in the quiet darkness like silent shadows. The future is rich with endings, but also with continuations. None of these stars are truly gone. They simply change shape, change light, change rhythm. The giant accepts all of them, not as victims, but as participants in the slow evolution of the galactic core. You drift outward slightly, entering the warm glow of the circumnuclear ring, the star-forming ring you passed earlier. Millions of years from now, this ring will undergo transformations of its own. Fresh waves of gas will drift inward from the spiral arms, guided by the bar structure at the galaxy's center. These waves will collide with older gas in the ring, triggering bursts of star formation. Young clusters will flare into brightness, blue, hot, vibrant. But those bursts will not last forever. Over time, the ring's gas will be consumed. Its star formation will fade, its edges will cool. Eventually, the ring will become a structure of memory, a faded wreath around the giant, still beautiful, still important, still shaped by the silent influence of the black hole. You float deeper into the ring, watching the future unfold like a slow-motion sunrise. Some young clusters will drift inward, pulled by friction and gravity. Others will drift outward into the central bulge, joining the older families of long-lived stars. Every cluster will follow its own quiet path, and the giant will remain at the center, not forcing anything, but guiding everything. You drift away from the ring and rise gently into the broader bulge, the vast glowing sphere of stars surrounding the core. Here, the future becomes softer and more difficult to see, because the changes are slow, so slow that a single human lifetime is not even a breath. Over billions of years, the bulge will change shape very gently. Stars will drift into new positions. Dark matter will shift around the edges. Gas clouds will slowly lose energy and migrate inward. Old stars will die. New stars will fade. The bulge will become calmer than it already is. Its light will grow redder as blue stars disappear. Its motion will slow as the gravitational interactions settle into stability, and the giant will sit in the middle of it all, a constant presence in a region that evolves so slowly it feels eternal. You drift farther still into the spiral arms, letting your awareness expand outward across the entire Milky Way. The arms will continue to rotate around the center, but over billions of years their shape will soften. The distinct arms will blur, their edges will dissolve. The galaxy will become rounder, smoother, less defined. Eventually, in the far future, the Milky Way will no longer look like the elegant spiral you know today. It will resemble a giant glowing cloud, a soft elliptical shape with a bright core and long, smooth wings of ancient stars. The spiral pattern is temporary. The galaxy is always becoming something new, and Sagittarius A is always present to guide that becoming. You drift again into the intergalactic space between the Milky Way and Andromeda, a quiet, dark expanse filled with thin streams of rogue stars and rare atoms. In the future, this space will become crowded, not with stars, but with motion. As Andromeda approaches, its gravitational pull will stretch both galaxies into long, elegant streams that reach toward each other like arms of pale light. Some stars will be thrown outward into deep space. Others will fall inward toward the cores. Clouds will collide. Clusters will merge. Strips of light will connect the two galaxies like luminous bridges, and then the galaxies will pass through each other, not once, but several times. Each passage will distort the shapes more dramatically. The Milky Way's spiral arms will twist, Andromeda's disk will stretch, the central bulges will glow brighter as material falls inward. During these passages, the black hole at the heart of the Milky Way will awaken again. Streams of gas will spiral inward from the disrupted ring. Clusters will migrate toward the core as the gravitational tides shift around them. Large amounts of new material will funnel into the central region. The giant will feed. You drift downward into the core as you imagine this era, a time when the quiet giant will glow again, not as fiercely as a young quasar, but bright enough to shine across half the merging galaxy. Its accretion disk will flare softly. Its jets will whisper outward in narrow beams. Its glow will warm the dust in wide, spreading halos. This is not danger, this is growth. And then, after millions of years, the merger settles. The galaxies complete their slow dance. Their stars mix into one shape. Their halos flow together. Their black holes spiral inward toward one another. You drift into the space where they will meet. A future point where two dark giants will merge into one. The gravity here feels heavier, not dangerous, but full of potential, full of destiny. When the black holes merge, a final ripple of gravitational waves will pass through the merged galaxy. A soundless tremor that vibrates the fabric of space. Then silence will return, and a new giant will take its place at the heart of the new galaxy. Massive, quiet, patient, resting once more. You drift around the imagined shape of this future galaxy, a broad luminous cloud called Milkomeda, a blend of Milky Way and Andromeda. Its core will be brighter, heavier, denser. Its stars will orbit the new giant with rhythms never before seen. Its shape will be smooth, round, majestic, and in the very centre, the black hole that was once Sagittarius A, merged with its twin, greater than ever, yet silent as always. You drift back toward the giant's present location, feeling the future fold into calm. No matter how vast the changes, no matter how dramatic the mergers, no matter how long the cosmic timeline extends, the giant's essence does not change. It remains the anchor, the quiet heart, the sleeping force shaping everything with invisible hands. It is not a threat, not a destroyer, not a monster. It is the still point in a universe that never stops moving, a silent partner in the evolution of everything around it. And as you drift gently into the quiet darkness near the giant, you feel something soft and profound. The future is not frightening. It is simply another chapter in the same long story. A story of gravity, of light, of creation, of quietness, of change. You rest in that truth, ready for the final layer of the future, where the story extends beyond galaxies, beyond stars, beyond even the giant itself. You drift upward, away from the imagined glow of the merged galaxy, Milkomeda, and into a quiet, open region of space where time feels different, slower, thicker, older. You're no longer watching the near future or even the far future of stars and orbits. You're watching the future of the universe itself. The galaxies will continue to drift. New clusters will form. Ancient clusters will fade. Stars will burn, recycle, and be born again. But this cycle is not permanent. It is only a chapter in a much longer story. You drift farther from the galactic core, letting the entire future of Milkomeda shrink into a glowing sphere beneath you. The stars move slowly now. The gas grows thin. The arms have long dissolved. The galaxy has become smooth, round, quiet. Billions of years pass in gentle breaths. One by one, the bright blue stars die. The yellow stars fade into cool red glows. The red stars dim into embers. The embers become cold dwarfs with no light. The galaxy grows darker, not suddenly, but softly, as though someone were lowering a cosmic dimmer over many lifetimes. Yet in the centre, the giant remains. You drift closer again, toward the black hole that has merged, grown and matured into a new, larger presence. It no longer glows, it no longer flares. Its accretion disk is thin, its jets are quiet, but its gravity is unchanged, a perfect stillness in an aging universe. Around it, most stars have either died or migrated outward into long orbits. Only the remnants remain: white dwarfs, neutron stars, small black holes, each one drifting slowly through the darkening galaxy. Some of these remnants will spiral inward over trillions of years, a quiet procession of collapsing stars and dark cores moving toward the giant. Every so often, one will fall too close. There will be no light, no luminous glow, no bright flare. The universe is too old, too cold, too thin to produce brilliance. Instead, the black hole will grow invisibly, one silent meal at a time. A dark future filled not with violence, but with quiet absorption. You drift back, watching the galaxy continue to age. After hundreds of trillions of years, even the smallest stars will fade. After even longer, white dwarfs will cool into black dwarfs, cold, invisible spheres floating through the dark. The galaxy will approach a state of calm never known before. No new stars, no warm light, no glowing dust, only gravity and silence, and in the centre, the black hole, waiting without thought or hunger. Time stretches further, energy grows scarce, motion slows, space expands. Galaxies drift beyond each other's horizons until nothing can see anything else. Milky will become isolated, a lone island in a dark ocean, unable to share light or gravity with any neighbour, and still, the black hole remains, a quiet relic of a brilliant past. You drift outward, letting trillions more years pass in gentle waves. Over unimaginably long periods, even black dwarfs and neutron stars may drift inward toward the giant. Not many, just a few. Rare offerings from the cold and ancient galaxy. The giant will grow in tiny steps, and the universe will grow darker still. Eventually, in the deep future where time has lost all familiar scale, the galaxy will be a faint memory of glowing dust, burnt embers, and the remnants of what once was. This is not tragedy, it is transition. The universe does not fear endings. It simply moves into new forms. You drift farther still into a time when even black holes begin to change. It is a concept beyond ordinary thought, but not beyond the quiet and gentle unfolding of cosmic truth. Black holes do not live forever. They evaporate, slowly, silently, through a process called Hawking radiation. For small black holes, this evaporation happens quickly. For giants, it takes longer than any other process in the universe. Sagittarius A, merged with Andromeda's core, will evaporate in a timescale so vast that writing the number is almost meaningless. But eventually, after all stars are gone, after all galaxies fade, after the universe expands into deep isolation, the giant will begin to shrink. Not violently, not suddenly, but softly, as soft as anything in the universe can be. It will release its mass in faint whispers of energy. Its event horizon will shrink millimetre by millimetre. Its gravitational pull will weaken imperceptibly over eons. seconds, you drift close enough to imagine that final moment, a moment so far in the future that the universe itself will have changed 1,000 times. The black hole will continue to evaporate until there is almost nothing left, and then, like a single drop slipping back into a silent ocean, the giant will vanish. No sound, no light, no explosion, just disappearance. A quiet exhale after a lifetime longer than galaxies. You hover in the emptiness where the giant once was, feeling the strange and peaceful calm of that future silence. The Milky Way once depended on this giant. It shaped its stars, its dust, its structure. It anchored an entire galaxy for billions of years. Its presence was central to everything, and yet, its absence does not feel sad. It feels like the closing line of a long poem, a soft ending that matches the slow quieting of the universe itself. The story is complete, not lost, not gone. Complete. You drift slowly through the empty space that replaces the giant, and you feel something deep and calming. The universe does not fear change. It expands into it. It rests within it. It flows with it. Sagittarius A was never a monster, never a threat. It was a partner in the universe's unfolding, a creator, a sculptor, a guardian, and finally a quiet witness to the end of light itself. You breathe softly as you drift back toward a calmer, warmer region of thought, away from the deep future, back toward the familiar calm of the present Milky Way. The stars regain their glow, the dust returns to its patterns, the giant rests once more in the center of the galaxy, quiet, ancient, and patient. The future is vast, beautiful, and deeply calm, just like the giant itself, and you, floating gently in this quiet cosmic cradle, feel that calm settle softly into your breath, your thoughts, your dreams. The story of the universe is long, but tonight you carry the quietest part of it with you, the silence at the heart of a sleeping giant.